Hi, guys, and welcome to another episode of the No Face, No Case Godcast, Times the Wise Magis. We are here today with Professor Ross Nati. Any extra words for the intro?
Nah, we starting off real light tonight. We starting off real light. So I'm gonna go right here first. See, I'm not even exactly sure, so I'm not even gonna go right there. First thing I'm gonna do. No, I got it. I'm just gonna start off right here. On the road to Zion.
Wait, is it me?
I don't know. Definitely you.
It's heart-stopping video taken inside a bank where 5 people are held hostage. You can see 2 FBI agents peering through the window. Money is scattered across the floor. The accused hostage taker orders a female hostage to act as a go-between with the FBI.
Tell him you next up, do his job. No, don't say no. Say what I said, and I've been recording it too.
What would you like me to say?
What did I just tell you that was going to happen if you could just get a number for an FBI agent?
I think we're still just waiting to hear from his family.
The 9-hour siege at a Wells Fargo bank in St. Cloud, Minnesota began when a teller pressed a panic button that summoned cops.
We discovered several people had already fled the bank, but 5 bank employees remained.
The brother when it was serious.
Hostage.
FBI SWAT teams in combat fatigues and police surrounded the bank. The suspect collected all the cell phones, then used one to live stream the scene inside the bank. After 5 tense hours, he began releasing the hostages one at a time to cheers from spectators gathered outside. Look, that's the suspect tossing a wad of cash out of the door. It's an echo of a scene from the iconic Al Pacino bank robbery movie, Dog Day Afternoon. Next to be released was this woman. She was the hostage speaking to the FBI.
What would you like me to say?
As tension mounted, 2 more hostages were released.
Why is so aggressive?
This woman was
Man,
visibly distressed.
I thought he had something to
freedom
do with
after her
something to do.
terrifying ordeal. As night fell, the FBI actually delivered pizza to the bank. Again, straight out of Dog Day Afternoon.
Here, keep the change.
Then the last remaining hostage made a dash for freedom, falling on his way out. SWAT teams stormed in and overpowered the suspect, identified as 35-year-old Ray Rico McNeary. The siege was over. So what should you do to survive a hostage situation? We talked to security expert Pat Brosnan.
Stay put, stay calm, be polite, be respectful, pay attention to detail, but the overarching goal is to remain as a witness.
Hey, pause that. See, we don't even need to pause it because the video really done. But look, Pat is speaking to the choir. You feel me? If y'all watch the No Face, No Case Godcast situation, bro, we say this. We say this. The ops get you, ops got you. What brother say? Stay alive to be a witness. The coldest shit that brother just said, bro. Stay calm. Listen. Respectful. He said that too. He said be respectful because you don't want to make them upset. All these things, this is what I'm saying. I think people be trying to tell them cool. No. I think these are the ways, and if we try these ways and they still do what they do, it'll be just more justified. People be like, damn, look what they're doing to these people. But if you're not following those little shits that we gave y'all on the No Face, No Case Godcast shit, no, the street rules, whatever y'all want to rock with, bro.
Rules of engagement.
This a different situation. So, Empress, what was you seeing from this situation? What was your thoughts on shit going down like this?
I just want to acknowledge that there was no bloodshed.
Even in a situation that bad, a black bro doing some crazy shit, right?
It was crazy, but it seemed like art imitating life. You see, they kept dropping the reference of that film. What was it, Dog Day?
He ain't do nothing Dog Day-ish, though. So I can't even stand behind that. But I like the fact he definitely watched. Why he throwing money out the fucking window?
He ordered the pizza?
I think they brought him the pizza. But maybe he ordered it.
And then he went live on someone else's phone. We recently seen that in the film.
That's the part of it I didn't understand. I didn't see that in Dog Days. I remember nigga trying to go live. Dog Days was a very serious movie. That was possibly one of Al Pacino's better roles. I hear he got Al
And I'm
Pacino's
just
a legend.
thinking, is this guy sane? Does he have a plan? Was this like some suicide by cop attempt? Was this like, what was this guy thinking? Is my question.
If I'm looking at it and I'm analyzing the situation, I'm thinking this brother, he got situations going on, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would say that he got a mental illness at this moment. Me watching the brother, I don't think the brother wanted to die. The brother came out peacefully. They said they overtook him. I don't know what that mean. How they overtook him? Well, what he had? Did they say he have a gun? I was trying to figure all this out.
They never mentioned him being armed. But I mean, how do you hold people hostage without a gun?
You black and you white, and they white.
Mm-hmm. I'll smack you. I recently was on social media and I seen someone talking about how they were enjoying life in captivity, I guess, more than, out here. So I'm thinking, like, is this guy homeless? Does he have nowhere to go? Does he realize that the immigrants at the border have a better living situation than him?
The bro trying to get him a spot.
He's like, all right, what is the actual charges that you get for robbing a bank or attempted robbery? Oh, that's a pretty long time. I can actually write some bars while I'm in there. I can do this while I'm in there. We don't know. Because if you really were out here, for what obvious bank robbers for is, get some money, go on about your life, he would have gone about his life. It's like, why not take the money and run? Do they lock the doors when they press the panic button?
I would say, where was he gonna run? He didn't seem like he had a suitable plan. They said people had already left the bank.
He didn't even look like he had a suitable body. Did you see him?
Yeah. That brother doesn't look like he's ready. He came out, he went ahead to show. I'm like, damn, what's wrong, OG?
Woo. Man. Yeah, well, you probably need somewhere to stay, man.
All right. So, because that's super interesting, but we're not bank robbers. Why would a bank robber look at the situation? So, Empress, would you be able to go to? I should be in the history if you can. Matter of fact, I think I may be a little tad bit faster than you on it. It should be in the history though. I got him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is a bank robber, right? And he's gonna tell you how he feel like as far as him just watching movies.
Almost 2 years. So after turning myself in, I decided to form a coaching company that helps people transform their lives. And today we are going to be judging the authenticity of bank robbery scenes in some of our favorite movies. He has on this helmet, so he doesn't need a mask. He doesn't look like he'd be coming in to rob necessarily. It looks like he just kept his helmet on, which guys do all the time. I can really relate to this. Him wearing that backpack. I would sometimes either wear a backpack or a duffel bag strapped around the front, and you can still have the control of your hands. It's the only drawback. If you get any kind of tracker or die pack, you walk off, and that die pack explodes, he's wearing it on his chest. This is so real. It typically happens your first time or two. Bank robbery is bad enough, so just put that out there. And what we know from watching the movie is he's in a really desperate situation. Sometimes the desperation kind of overrides the moral compass. It's very accurate. It takes a second for him to pump himself up. He has tape. he doesn't want those gloves coming off, you know. So obviously he's really conscious of not leaving any type of fingerprints. Also, it's holding his sleeve to the jacket down, which could be covering up some type of
tattoo.
Interesting that he picked a bank with glass. Because of the glass, he's got to throw it over to them. And, you know, they could put any kind of device in that bag. It almost shows more so the desperation that he went into this bank that is secure with glass and everything like that, but he was still so desperate that it didn't stop him. Him having a problem with his motorcycle, something that's sure it's happened. They just blow through that red light with all those cars coming. I don't think an intelligent police officer would do that, just because you're putting a lot more people at risk. I would actually rate this a 9. Going into the bank, leading up to the bank, preparing, getting nervous, everything he did, even the mistakes he made inside were actual mistakes that if you haven't done it.
All right, so off rip, what I'm getting is this brother that robbed the bank wasn't robbing no banks. He's not a bank robber. He's there to play around in the bank. He was there to make a withdrawal, and something happened, and he got angry. That's all I could hear, because this brother is saying all these things, and it's like, yeah, that's true. Boom, boom, boom. You thinking, you second guessing, you go in there, you hold on. He didn't do none of those things. He was almost like, yo, I took everybody's phone and I'm recording. So I watch movies. I know by taking the phones. So for sure he watched movies, but I'm trying to figure out which ones did he watch. Brother probably watched The Joker or something different, man.
This vault that looks like no one could ever get in except for probably the U.S. military. We have to keep in mind that this movie, everything about this movie is supposed to be over the top. Yes, they do have very intricate lock safes and things like that, time lock safes, things that are really hard to get into. But a lot of time during business hours, they will keep certain safes open just so the employees can have access. I learned everything. So at every bank I went into, I knew whether it was going to have a safe such as the one that's in this scene, or if it was going to be a regular open door. And if it were like this, I would pass. Unless I found in one of their manuals or knew that they would keep this door open between certain times. Could I get into that back then where things were more manual? Oh, yeah. I mean, it would have taken a considerable amount of time to break into that. That's not like a 3 or 4 minute deal. Wouldn't have a weapon in there like that unless you had a security guard that was armed. You got to keep in mind, if you shoot that shotgun and he hits that bank robbery suspect, those rounds are probably exiting the perpetrator and going straight into the bank customer or the bank employee.
What bus driver?
That school bus doesn't have any damage on it, and it just crashed through a cement and stone building. And if you remember, it had to go up the steps because when they robbed the building, they went up the steps. So that, like, totally Hollywood, right? Definitely a 1. The camera's already got them, and on.
So yeah, I just wanted to get a overview just to see if the brother was trying to go in there and rob him. I seen him saying movies and da. I don't know if OG had on a mask. I don't know. OG didn't have nobody with him. He didn't have no backpack. It looked like he was sitting in there with the people, holding them hostage. OG had no plan. OG, he was letting people out. He letting them out one at a time. This brother, he got caught in the wrong place, bro. He matter of fact, I think this was one of the brothers that had lost all that money in that Dogecoin. It gotta be something different where this brother just lost something. Because he was saying, even when the lady, she was saying, well, he's waiting to get in contact with his family. Oh, damn. Like, damn, OG want to talk to one of his people about this first. OG trying to let him know, like, bro, I think I'm about to go out. So, right. right now I kind of need some assistance. So yeah, that was. I thought that was super interesting when I was peeping it earlier. I'm like, man, what is going on? Are we in a crazier time? Because it's not a. Like I said, this brother, I feel like in the future he's gonna make America's top funniest bank robberies, guaranteed. But I don't know because it was a dude that went in there. I know y'all seen this one. He had on like a bag, but he didn't poke a hole in it. He passed out robbing the bank. So the bank got a lot of little different situations, bro. But me watching that brother, he didn't go in there tactical. He wasn't trying to rob the bank, bro. This is a brother with some mental conditions, and we should judge him as such with mental conditions. So I'm not sure if you got anything else to say, Empress.
Mm-mm.
All right. Let me go to my next little shindig. Wow. Next little shindig. I want to tell the people. Yeah, everything is in this section. Everything is in this section. But I'm going immediately from that to this. Like I said, I came in like the brother P.O. You feel me? So wow. They came in there deep for that brother. They really thought they were about to come in there and run into a suspect. Nah, it was just a fucking person just having a bad day, playing around with somebody. All right. Hold on, what's going on with my audio, man? Hold on.
The audio is super low on that video. Go to YouTube.
For real?
And what we see in this scenario.
I respect any man who can heal a heart he didn't break and raise a child he didn't make.
Now what?
Shout that brother out. Shout that brother out here doing the Most High's work. Because there's a brother out here. You feel me? Healing hearts he didn't break. Shout out to that brother, man. That brother should be. It should be a word for that brother. But I don't know. Maybe conceptually it means something different. But a woman shouldn't be saying that. A man could choose to do that. Just like a man shouldn't tell a woman that. I want woman that. You feel me? We gotta make sure that we curious about those. Cautious about those lines, nigga. We gotta almost kind of have yellow tape around them, possibly. Just just kind of like a cautionary tale. Yo, be careful with these lines right here, cause these lines they'll lead you to other places. So when this young lady come on and she like blah 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 blah, you can look at it and say it's not really that bad. But there's also another angle to it where it's like, okay, what do you mean by this? So much so, what do you mean by this that you had to go say it? Like you had to go publicize it. Like, are you saying that there's other people that you feel like they're not as real as this one because he doing like, you feel me? So that's the only reason why I was worrying about the line so much. I'm like, okay, cool. There's nothing wrong with that possibly. But then are you looking at the other people that's like, nah, I ain't really about to heal no other hearts that I ain't break? Oh, what you mean? Nah, I ain't got nothing to do with that. What you talking about? I'm just trying to figure out, are those brothers looked at differently? Do we look at those brothers like, that brother ain't doing nothing? I don't know. What's your thoughts? Because she's saying that she need a brother that's going to heal a heart that he ain't break. Raise a child that he didn't make. So those are good qualities in a man.
That woman sounds like a special case.
Mm-hmm.
And in a special case, fine. But in a natural and normal state, No. Stay with whoever you made that baby with. Figure it out. Y'all figured out how to get a bed together and make love to each other. And now y'all need to figure out y'all differences and how to make it work. And in regards to healing the heart, baby girl, you gotta heal your own heart, bro. Ain't nobody here to heal hearts. But you definitely need someone who is there to tell you the honest to God truth to help you heal your heart. But no one can heal your heart but you. Once you let go of these ideas and these sort of quote unquote wounds, then you'll be fine. But if you can't let go of that, nobody can help you heal your heart.
Man, you just said a mouthful, because that's exactly what I was about to go with it. Because like I said, the lines had to be drawn because I'm trying to figure out, okay, like I understand it, but to proclaim this, it's like, okay, so what are you saying by it? Because
this is just sensationalized.
Blair and Antonella, fortunately, no one was
IG TikTok video.
Okay.
It's realistic.
on the eve.
It's kind of like when we were just watching these Hollywood robberies.
Has been cleared. The only activity that we're
Yeah,
seeing is investigators with ATF and Aventura police going in and out of that mall, now reviewing surveillance video as they work to get a better description of this shooter.
After that first one, all you hear is bam, bam, bam. After that third one, everyone was running.
Shoppers hearing the sound of gunfire ring out inside the Aventura Mall Saturday. The shots followed by hundreds of people running for cover.
We heard 3 gunshots and I turned and I'm like, nobody could be shooting in here. And I mean, sure enough, they let off maybe 2 or 3 more shots.
This cell phone video showing employees and customers hiding in her store, surrounding businesses doing the same, with some people crouched down in a back stock room, doing what they could to stay safe.
Locked down the gate, brought it down quickly, and told everybody inside the store to go to the back so it's safe. And I told my coworkers to make sure they're all safe in the back and come and collect.
As the gunfire stopped, an injured victim appeared to still be bleeding was spotted on the lower level of the mall near the Louis Vuitton store. This man, just one of a total of 5 people injured. 3 hit in the gunfire, 2 others hurt while trying to run away.
I was going to run into a fitting room, but I figured if I run into a fitting room, I would have got stuck and I wouldn't know what was going on, so I just ran to the nearest exit.
According to Aventura police, the shooting was the result of 2 groups that got into a fight near the Hugo Boss store that led up to shots fired.
An individual displayed a weapon. The other group, another individual pulled out a weapon and actually used it.
For close to 5 hours, we watched as law enforcement from multiple agencies moved everyone out of the mall and canvassed the building, searching for the shooter. This image showing armed officers working to find him.
As far as we know, the person left on foot.
While police said multiple people have been taken into custody, the search continues for the gunman who witnesses said opened fire inside the crowded mall on a day where families were shopping for the holiday weekend.
I mean, it was just scary, especially pre-Mother's Day.
And that gunman was last seen wearing a black Adidas outfit heading west, as you heard right there, on foot. If you have any information that could help investigators, you are urged to give Miami-Dade Crime Stoppers a call. That number, 305-471-TIPS. The Aventura Mall does remain closed right now. They are expected.
Seems like we're gonna be speaking to the choir another episode, bro. And like I said, it's always bad because, like, man, what's wrong with people? But, bro, this is the possibilities.
Yeah, like people don't realize the dangers they put themselves in from like indulging in these vices that they don't even realize is vices. But like when you're just in a place where you have no control over your environment, it's so many different people that are around you, like you're putting your trust in the next man's hand to keep you alive. So it's just like live at your own risk. Like if you feel like you're good enough to walk around the mall in this day and age and not get shot at, all right, the Most High with you, whatever the case is. But we need to understand the world that we're living in and the climate that we're in, and you got to realize you're putting your life in someone else's hand every time you go outside. That's just the reality of it.
And we got, and like I said, I understand people to say this won't happen. Yeah, bro, it's not likely to happen, but it happened. Like I'm telling you, this isn't a one-off. It's been 8 of these over the weekend down here in the Florida area. Miami, Tampa. In Tampa, a lady got shot 5 times at a barbershop. I guess 2 bros got into an argument, and bro turned around like, "Oh, y'all best friends?" Let off on that was she said. I don't know what the hell going on, bro. But these aren't one-offs, bro. Anywhere that we go, like I said, bro, just make sure you walk with the Most High in your iron.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you ain't got no iron, nigga, you anemic.
And you ain't got no force. La force.
You feel me? So that's all. That's all we gotta say about that situation. But we got
the force be with you,
man. And like, just imagine you just in the mall hanging out. What they say, Mother's Day. Something going on. You just enjoying yourself, man. See, that's the thing too, because we believe in these holidays.
Oh man, that's the funniest thing.
Around these holidays, this is when these weird stuff happen, huh?
The superficial continues. And
Dishes,
niggas wonder why shit
and
is
there
so
was no
fake
vaccine.
now.
So there, first of all, what we have seen no variants. The whole thing happened within 1 year, and people have been sampling or analyzing autopsy samples to see whether there was any variation in the strains that during this pandemic appeared in several different parts of the world, and it was very homologous. So that is one thing. Now, so that is very important, because this is a high infectious pressure, a natural pandemic, no human intervention. So if you imagine now that we have, like, every second or third week, we have a new infectious variant appearing. And not only is this a more infectious variant, it's very often also much more infectious, like the Brazilian compared to the UK, etc. And it all appears very rapidly. It's not like during evolution, of course, these things appear, and if they have a competitive advantage, they will replace the original strain. Now, all this is happening, multiple variants within a short period of time with dramatically increased infectivity. And this in parallel with the mass vaccination campaign. I mean, as I was saying, you have the same pandemic. Well, it was flu, of course. Nothing happens in terms of variants. There were a few mutations, but here the mutations are very clearly targeted. They are selected at domains that enhance the infectivity virus. So they are not like random. They are really selected towards parts of the spike protein that are responsible for infectivity. So, I mean, there is something there, right?
Oh, yes.
As I was saying, we need to agree upon this. Same, for example, if you imagine now the situation in Chile, for example, okay? So you're vaccinating on a background of a variant that had just appeared, right? I mean, the Brazilian variant. So this Brazilian variant is, of course, pretty much different, the S protein, from the S protein of the vaccine. If you now start vaccinating people, of course, this variant that just emerged is going to have a competitive advantage because it's more infectious, and what you want to do with your antibodies is to prevent infectivity. So now all of a sudden you see how this variant is exploding, and you see the infectious rates that are dramatically increasing. So all of a sudden you have a much higher infectivity rate, right? And so there is other criteria as well that we could, the mutations are of course studied. We see more and more that they are also now converging towards domains that are targeted by the vaccinal antibodies. So if you take all these things together, we should be able, compared, as you pointed out correctly, to a natural pandemic, to observations that are really high, very, very strange, and that, according to my humble opinion, could be correlated with at least, I would say, human intervention, right, in this pandemic.
So,
hold on before
make that a little bit simpler. What you're saying is something that surprised me the first time I heard you say it, which is that in the 1918 pandemic, there were no widespread variants, and we know this from the comparison of samples taken during autopsy. So that shocks me. I think what it suggests is that the evolutionary experimentation took place before the pandemic, that effectively the virus got very effective at transmitting in some small population that wasn't captured in the autopsy samples. Maybe it wasn't even recognized as a unique disease. And that by the time it circulated around the globe, it was already highly effective. And that in this case, we have, well, I would say the anomalous fact of this virus apparently having emerged in the human population already highly effective. We have no evidence for that experimental evolutionary period at the beginning, which is one of the reasons that many of us believe the laboratory origins hypothesis is probably correct. But in the context of this vaccine campaign, what you're arguing is that we are seeing exactly the pattern of change that you would predict if we were creating this inadvertent serial passage experiment.
Exactly. Before this brother jumped in, that's exactly where I was going with the angle, where I was like, we got to kind of view it like this, right? This brother, he's a virologist and a bunch of claim who he is, and he worked with the Bill. He used to work with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. So the brother been around. He's been around. So what he's saying is, in the 1918 situation, there was no variants created. He's saying that if you take something before the onset of it to prevent it, that's preventative. To take something in the midst of something is dangerous. He's explaining that the variants are being created because we're taking these vaccines in the midst of the actual quote unquote pandemic, right? But I shouldn't even have said that word. But yeah, right now we're talking about the vid. Like I said, I don't really like going into this topic too much because I know how the people get, but I just kind of wanted to throw that out there because that was super interesting. I know a lot of people, bro, what you saying, bro? You don't know about no vaccines. I don't know about vaccines, but y'all know about vaccines. But nevertheless, bro, all I'm trying to explain about the vaccine situations, bro, is that if you look at studies, or if you even pay attention to communities like of recent, like communities that was basically having measles party or whatever the situation was, the Jewish community up in Rockledge. And when they explain it, matter of fact, I'm gonna probably bring a brother up and just have him explain it for his own self. But when they explain it, it's saying, yo, we look at it like this. You get it one time, you can't get it again. You play this game, then the danger of it, he was saying, something that he was explaining, and I was like I said, I don't want to say too much on it because when we go in, these brothers be trying to trip out it. They be bugging, these corporations ran by the red man with the red plan. Give me 1 second real quick. Let me pull this video up. This Dr. Green Day. All right, I want to, okay. In that same breath right here. Like I said, I'm about to get off this topic because I don't want to beat a dead horse. I just wanted to throw that out there because it was super interesting to me. And I don't think we think of it. You feel me? I don't think we viewing the play. Right? I don't think we understand that when they come out and they tell you about all these variants and this and that ain't normal. I don't think we understand that part of the play. Right? So when the brother went back and he told you about what happened in 1918 and how, you feel me, the different response in comparison to the response now.
Greet each other by shaking hands, no social distancing, and restaurants that don't require facial coverings. It's a world we once knew before the coronavirus. I don't know of a single person who has corona, Jean-Louis Ritchie says. I am concerned about the virus, but I don't always have access to a mask. The security of the country, this man says, is more of a concern than the coronavirus.
On a Friday night here in Cap Haitian, one of the most popular areas, you would think that I'm the oddball for wearing a mask. no one here is wearing one. You would think COVID never touched this country. Weeks into the pandemic, President Jovenel Moïse says, some decisions we made early. We decided to completely shut down the country for 4 months. But scientists say even that doesn't explain Haiti's stunningly low COVID-19 death rates, 263, and just over 13,000 confirmed cases to date, less than 2,000 hospitalizations, and more than 12,000 have recovered from COVID out of 11 million people for the entire pandemic, according to the Haitian government. By now, the worst predictions had Haiti in a second wave, like India, in the grips of a COVID crisis that's killing 100 people by the hour, and a weak healthcare system collapsing. Haiti's dramatically low COVID count and death rate may be a combination of the government's poor record keeping and not enough testing sites. But Moïse says there is a relationship Haitians have with nature that protects them from coronavirus, and a plant that produces certain tea called asosimo that's made with ginger root. I'm telling you what I've witnessed, he says, but scientifically, I cannot say.
You're the one close to the border.
The Moïse administration missed the first round of a nearly million free AstraZeneca vaccinations months ago, but says even when his country accepts them, we cannot force people to get the shot. Meanwhile, on stops in small towns, the president, who is wearing a mask, is a magnet for big crowds, standing side by side, gathering with no protection from COVID. And so if the Haitian proverb is really true, that behind every mountain is another mountain, or behind every problem is another problem, then Haiti may not have been spared after all by the worst of the virus.
Yo, I was just about to say, bro, I'm about to end the cast because I see, yeah, y'all gotta watch these folks, bro. What are y'all what are they talking about? What they talking about? Right now, it seems like somebody trying to sell a news story to me. Somebody coming in the booth and they're like, yo, T, but we got to think about this angle though. You feel me? What if it's really because they got poor bookkeeping? I don't know, bro. I gotta ask somebody. Y'all bugging, bro. Y'all bugging with the poor bookkeeping situation, bro, because y'all got poor bookkeeping. I just heard y'all just recently talking about poor bookkeeping. Matter of fact, every time y'all do these Harvard studies, the Harvard study talk about poor bookkeeping. Everybody got poor bookkeeping. Matter of fact, the Catholic, they got so crazy with bookkeeping that nobody could keep books. No books. Burn books. I don't even know what they did in the Catholic Church, bro. I know the Catholic Church got serious about books, bro. Something happened. I don't see. I gotta find it and I gotta talk. I'm not even gonna stress it. But the president of Haiti right now, I don't know if the brother doing nothing good. I ain't hear they ain't doing too much good. But the brother say, nigga, the AstraZeneca came out and we missed it. Goddamn. I didn't know y'all sent it out. Y'all sent it? Nah, we ain't get none of them, bro. So now they said they're gonna send another round sooner than later. And bro say, bro, when we get them, we gonna get them. We ain't gonna force people to take them. So I'm just hoping people living by the means and being like, yo, they really ain't fucking with us. Cause I know it's gonna be a couple people that's gonna be scared. And you know, I don't like to point my fingers. I don't like to talk about the race. I'm not gonna do that. Right? I'm not gonna do that. But I'm just hoping, nigga, if I'm peeping this situation, right, and you show me a situation where you like, yo, T, we only had this much deaths. We only had this much confirmed cases. We only had this much hospitalization. The president's saying that we're using this T right here. Woo, bro, I immediately knew they was going to switch the whole topic. Because once they started seeing that, like I said, it's bad to me either way. Because now you're putting people on notice. For what? For what? They're doing good. That's what I'm saying. For what? What if they didn't want nobody else to know how they thugging? But maybe they did want people to. I don't know, bro. OG told him about the plan. I know how OG give it up. OG give it up different. He give it up different for sure. So I kind of want to, like I said, I want to double check my facts. I really didn't even zero in on that video yet. That video just came in line because I was playing the 1918 situation and the difference in their response. Because there's not going to be any variance, not anything being created, right? So we take our licks, we blah, 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 give them the licks with the Most High, and we at the top of the, you feel me? We back at the top of the food chain. So that's how I'm viewing it, right? I'm viewing it like, if what's been working, send the vaccines. We're not gonna bother them, bro. Like I'm on one of these No Face No Case Godcast episodes, we played the Jamaican president, prime minister, and we had that brother giving it up where he was like, "Yeah, we're just gonna wait." Yo, we're gonna wait. Yo, Jamaica and Haiti been on some. Well, we just gonna wait, bro. I'm thinking. No. I hear you, but we just gonna wait just a little bit, trying to see how it rock out up there. So now imagine you hearing what's going on in America. Imagine if you hear what's going on in America. India is crazy right now. So what they try to do is they try to say, look at India. See, that's the thing. I need to go look at India, right? But there's a few things that I can bring up, right? And this might be I'm off this topic. I'm off the topic. It might be conspiratorial. Bro's gonna say, "Yo, this dude said something wild about Wi-Fi and Ford." No, I ain't saying none of that. I'm not gonna say none of that. I don't say any of that, bro. I'm just gonna show you this. Bro. Just, you feel me? Get your focus back onto the right thing. I'm not gonna show that though. No. You don't get me, bro. And that's fucked up. Yo, bring free speech back. What's up with the free speech, bro? They took your commander in chief off social spheres, and y'all was so motherfucking anti bro that y'all was like, yo, fuck them, take them off. All right, think about this. All right, just let's do a thought experiment. If they could take bruh off, what could they do to you? If they could take bruh off and choose to ban bruh still, why he's even still not, he's no longer in the situation, what would they do to you? Say you come on here one day and you want to play Dr. Greet Van Basten. I just threw that name. I didn't fuck everybody up. But man, you throw that out there and you play that video, and then you play the Haiti video, and then you play another. You might play 4 videos in a row. Now they looking at you like you an enemy of the state, because now these brothers are like the biggest doctors in the world. You didn't even know that. These brothers are trained virologists, bro. These are legendary people. That's like when they see the video and they see me play other people, and they be like, "Yo, who was that guy?" Yeah, he got his PhD. I seen that he went to school, got his doctorate, did his whole little situation. I don't care. Who is he? He's not a part of the organization. And just to double down on that, we heard, like, not just in that field, it's in all science. You hear somebody like Graham Hancock. I gotta make sure it's Graham Hancock. White dude, bro. But he be speaking about shit be older than this and it's like we don't get into it, right? It was another brother. I'm pretty sure it was a brother named, and I'm not going to say your name, but you got destroyed by Francis Cress Wellington, bro. And I was thinking about you, so that's the reason why I threw it out there. So if anybody know who I'm talking about, that's why I thought of just immediately for no reason. But this is what Francis Cress Wellington was doing to you on that one.
That guy is brutal. He beat us all up and he was drunk. So
he said he beat us all up and he was drunk. Like I said, these brothers, they're not the top of the top. So I still reserve some of my judgment. My boy Jean Charlie. But man, These niggas still training. They still made it to the actual MMA. A couple of these brothers for sure. Man, this brother made them look like kids. But maybe they didn't want to give them nothing. Even I don't know. But even the way that my brother warned them about, bro, he was like, yo, I seen one time a bro try to be like, yo, man, I could take you, bro. You trying to throw me? You trying to throw me? And he thought he was getting into a throwing contest. And John Charlie said, okay, let's go. And killed him. All right. You see me? Killed him. Be careful who you play with, bro. Don't play with Jean Charlie. That brother, he's a good brother.
Themselves out. They said, "Yeah, I'll fight with you, but I want $1 million."
Yeah, that's Andre. So funny thing about I'm pretty there's an interview of Andre saying I would fight my grandmother for $40,000. And then he's just like, no, I won't fight for less than $1 million, which is amazing because every one of his ADCC fights prior to this, the ADCC purse is $10,000 to lose, $40,000 to win. So it's like you're looking for what a however many X10 increase. It's go from $40,000 to $1 million. Like it's just like it's not like 40,000 to 100,000, like 40,000 to $1 million. It's like the whole ADCC event isn't even going to generate $1 million in revenue.
How did this get started? This beef between the two of you guys? Because for people who don't know, there was an event here a few weeks ago, and he came up to you, and what did he say to you?
So the whole thing originally started when I was petitioning for matches against the top level guys in like 2016 when I first got my black belts, and I was like, I want to compete against Andre or something along those lines, and his wife was like, well, win the ADCC Absolute, and then you'll have your chance to compete against Andre. So, I go in, I lose the Absolute 2017 to Felipe Pena, and then I go out and I win double gold, and I win the Absolute in 2019. So now Andre had originally said that he was retiring after his fight with Felipe Pena for 2019 ADCC. But then I win the Absolute, so it kind of sparked everyone's interest. Everyone wants to see this match now. So then I didn't talk shit to Andre. I didn't do anything. I was like super nice after. I was like, listen, if Andre wants to compete against me, I'd be more than happy to compete against him. He's a legend. He's done a lot for the sport. But if Andre chooses to retire, like he said he was going to, then that's fine with me too. He said he was going to retire, and it's not like he's ducking the match and now he's just going to suddenly retire after he wins. He said before the match, this is my last match, I'm retiring. And then he like kind of passive aggressively would start posting like videos of him winning ADCC with captions like I'm the real king, or just like passive aggressively nudging me. So I'm like, okay, like we can start to do this. So then we started going back and forth online, and there must have been a turning point where he started taking what I was saying personally, because I knew that in the beginning he knew it was just kind of to build the fight and to hype the fight, but then I think it really started to get to him. So after the last match where Craig submitted his student Ronaldo, we went up to shake their hands in the corner after, and John shook Andre's hand, and I went to go shake their hands, and Ronaldo wouldn't shake my hand, and Andre flipped me off. So I was like, okay, no, this is fine. I just started laughing and I walked it off. And then we go backstage, and I go to walk to do an interview, and Andre's waiting for me like past the curtains in the backstage area. And I don't think he realized the camera was there, but I saw the camera was there, and I was like, this is kind of...
Jamie, go find the video, because there's a video of this.
I was like, this is kind of out of character for Andre to be like talking shit to me when nobody's around, because nobody was there. And it was just like one obscure camera way in the back. And he started calling me a bitch and a pussy. And I just laughed. I was like, you know what, this is what it is. And I think what he was thinking he was going to come up and punk me in person and be like, look, Gordon's a pussy. He only talks shit online. So he called me a bitch and a pussy. There it is.
Give me some volume. Do it from the beginning.
And he's like, why are you running? Why are you running? He's like, why are you running? Why are you running? and I turned around. He pushes me, and I was like, okay, well, we're gonna fight. Let's start it off with the smack.
So you smack him in the face twice. He pushed you. He called you a pussy. He pushed you.
I mean,
you smacked him in the face twice, and then it's weird. He's kind of just following you.
Yeah, so I was going to do my interview. So I was like, listen.
Look at this person grab the camera. She bolted over there. He looks like he's limping. You notice that?
I think he was just really shook from the smack. What? And the only person whose stock grew more than mine was John Danaher's. This fucking guy just walked in like a stone cold killer.
Look at him. It's so confusing because now he's saying, I want to talk to you like a man. Why do you want to do that?
That's pretty
You
much the
always
gist.
talk shit. You should show respect.
Yes.
After he called you a pussy and then you smacked him. I think he was rattled, right? He didn't expect you to just haul off and smack him in the face and then do it again.
I mean, reality hits quick. If you walk up to someone, call them a pussy, and push them, that's
should
like
be ready to go.
That's like pretty much as far as you can go before you get into a fight.
Yeah.
I mean, so I'm like, okay, there's gonna be a fight. Let me start it off with a smack.
Yo,
And I realized that.
what's going on, OG? You at work?
Hey, yo, nigga at the work guys, man. You know,
Wants to fight again. So
Thugging it.
Again, and he just backed up. And
thugging it, bro. I'm just on a little quick break or whatever.
Hey, nigga, that's how you give it up, man. Shit been straight.
The shit straight, you know. Just cooling, brother. Everything. Just trying to make this little cheese flow real fast. You know.
Hey, I told you, boy.
Everything, though.
Man, you already know, bro. Can't complain, man. I was just watching this little video. This white boy smacking the hell out of this other little dude on some shit. I'm like, God damn. These two jujitsu motherfuckers. So they don't really throw that much hands. They really get to wrapping up and trying to be submitting niggas. So bro walked up and smacked the shit out of his ass. What's up?
You slap a black man, yeah, it's gonna get killed.
Man, he smacked the Spanish dude. I'm about to put him. I'm trying to find the video real quick.
I'd rather get my ass punched than slapped.
Man, hell yeah.
You slap me, you try me like a bitch ass nigga. I gotta kill your ass.
Nah, he definitely sized his ass though for sure. But it's this Spanish.
Man.
Nah, hell no. Nah. It's the last thing you can fucking do. But listen how this bro react to it. It's the dude that got smacked.
First of all, I would like to apologize all you guys, to apologize my family, to apologize my students, my team, the entire jiu-jitsu community.
Had your ass slapped. Now you apologize. That nigga crazy, man.
Apologizing.
I can't take the motherfucker serious, dog.
The first thing I was wrong,
but yeah, bro, I'm going back in. I'm gonna holler at you in a little bit.
Yeah, you already know. G safety, my boy.
All right, then, brother. Bet.
Yeah, yes, you already know. Shout out to the brother Rolly's touching base, man. You gotta always support your brothers, bro. So I'm always thankful for that shit. But yeah, this the brother right here that Gordon Ramsay was just talking about.
I curse, bad words and try to talk to him. I was trying to communicate something. I wasn't ready for aggression or anything, but I say mean things, and then the violence is escalated. Like he slapped me, right? So I maintain myself calm, right? And I recognized that I made a mistake, and I knew that the consequences could come. So I pushed him. He surprised me, and I truly made a mistake. It was a mistake, being involved in all that for like even before months ago. I was involved in all this situation, right? So why I didn't fight? I just know that I know how to fight. I fought professionally, my entire life. I know how to do it. I know what is a fight, but I know what is a fight on the street, and on the streets there's no rules, and I knew that I could pay for the consequences, and I just thought about my future. I thought about my future. I knew it. I knew that it could be like something really easy, let's say, soft, let's say, but could be something really nasty. So we never know what really could happen, the things really turning into like a violence action, let's say, and we don't know when we respond the same way, things can be worse, and I just thought about my work, and everything. I just kept composed, control myself. I was like, okay, now I know I can't like do that again, like back, because if I escalate the violence, something nasty can happen. And fortunately, I did not react, right? I was just calm. I spit it out, everything that was in my heart. I was speaking to him, everything that was in my heart, I told him, I just feel good about this, because I'm in peace right now. I can breathe, I have a good feeling right now about that. And I'm a martial teacher, a street fight, jiu-jitsu is not a street fight. So I knew it. I knew that street fight is completely different than a fight on the mat. So I was aware of everything, and I thank God for to a worse level,
That's what the brother Andre had to say. This brother a good fighter too, so I'm not taking definitely nothing from him. You see how he reacted. He's saying, "Hey, I was playing with Brett name, and off rip, I already know where it could have went. Right? I know where this whole situation could have went. So it don't even make no sense for me to even double down on some shit like, nah, Brian, nah, you just slapped me. I understand. You feel me? You want to react, blah, blah, blah. But it seemed like he putting a lot of weight on it, though. I ain't gonna lie. That brother putting a lot of street fight weight on it. That brother was like, man, I know it's a street fight. Anything can happen in a street fight. I'm like, hold on, bro. Chill out, though. What you mean? Like, you feel me? Like, anything can happen in any fight, but like, it just seemed like he was more tentative as far as when it came to the street fight. It seemed like he didn't even want too much to even hear about it. just based on what I'm listening to. Man, they said New York, bro, is... Let me play this little clip. They said New York, bro, ain't been this bad. They said New York ain't been this bad since the 70s. The 70s was terrible in New York. Hold on, coming. There gotta be some hotkeys. I need to go get the hotkeys to this shit.
Finding out what you mean when you say that you would apply the natural law philosophy to the Constitution is, in my view, the single most important task of this committee.
Senator Biden was very focused on natural law. How did that go?
Who knows? I have no idea what he was talking about.
I just want to make sure we all know what we're talking about here. That you and I know at least what we're talking about here. There's a
Biden, for what he is, not only a phony, but an incompetent one.
Good morning, Judge. Welcome to the blinding lights.
Listen to Biden. America, is this your president? Fucking grab Biden by the motherfucking his back collarbone.
Finding out what you mean when you say that you would apply the natural law philosophy to the Constitution is, in my view, the single most important task of this committee.
Senator Biden was very focused on natural law. How did that go?
Who knows? I have no idea what he was talking about.
I just want to make sure we all know what we're talking about here, that you and I know at least what we're talking about here. There's a fervent and aggressive school of thought.
Hey, and even if Biden thought he was talking about something and making a point, bro, what are you doing? Just tell us what y'all talking about. If nobody knows, me and you know what we're talking about, at least. Biden, bro, what are y'all talking about, bro? We're trying to hear what the hell is going on, bro. You start off this situation by winking at me. Come on, bro. Welcome to the blinding lights. Biden. But back then, they showing you to be a young whippersnapper, bro. If this was the same you back then, boy, you would love you would love to take questions. You love speaking on yourself, bro. But you in a decline, bro. We got to be honest, bro. They say they trying to preserve you for the long haul. What that mean? That mean you're not even gonna be being a president. You just in there as a place. Oh yeah, Biden was there for 4 years. That what you doing, bro? Come on, B. Come on, Mr. B.
That wishes to see natural law further inform the Constitution than it does now. Argued against by the positivist led by Judge Bork. Now, again, that may be lost on all the people. You know and I know what we're talking about.
I have to be perfectly honest with you. You sit there and you have no idea what they are talking about. All I know is that he was asking me these questions about natural law.
Someone may apply it in a way, like Moore, who leads him in a direction that is, quote, liberal. You may apply it in a way that leads you in a direction that's conservative. Or you may, like many argue, not apply it at all. But it is a fundamental question that is going to be almost impossible for non-lawyers to grasp in an exchange. But you know and I know it is a big, big deal. And in conclusion,
one of the things you do in hearings is you have to sit there and look attentively at people you know have no idea what they're talking about.
Biden represents the feeling wing of America. So the facts don't matter. I mean, a little bit like AOC. I mean, she represents the hysterically feeling wing of America. And that among their people, facts don't matter. So the fact, people forget the first time Biden collapsed, he ran and he had this wonderful emotional speech about his childhood and growing up in a small town. It turned out it was Neil Kinnock's speech as a labor leader about whales. Now, a guy who's from Scranton, representing Delaware, describing himself in terms of a Welsh village, this was back when the news media still had some sense of covering fact. I mean, the news media destroyed him. They just said, this is crazy. But one of the failures of my career, I'm watching the Palin-Biden debate, which is available online. People can check the transcript. And Biden says at one point, if you really want to understand the middle class, I want you to come to Katie's restaurant on Saturday morning where I go all the time. Well, in the back of my head, that didn't ring right. So I called a friend in Wilmington and said, when did Katie's close? Well, Katie's closed 13 years before he said that. So I called the McCain campaign, and this tells you a lot about why Republicans lose and why Trump's different than normal Republicans. I called the McCain campaign, and I said, put her on an airplane tonight. Fly into Wilmington with the National Press Corps. Go looking for Katie's. And he'll tell you this guy's a doofus. And that's the danger that he would have as president. This is a man so shallow and so lacking in seriousness. You know, Bob Gates, the Secretary of Defense for both Obama and Bush, wrote in his memoir that for 4 decades, Biden has been consistently wrong on every major national security issue. Now, I mean, Gates is sort of a bureaucrat. He's not an ideologue. But that should sober people. Do you really want a guy as president who's been wrong for 4 decades on every major national security issue?
What do you think will happen in November?
Oh, this is politics is very tough to predict. There was someone who had a 19-point lead at this time.
Yeah, I think Dukakis did. I think at one point.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
And it evaporated. And I think that they saw by luck Dukakis for what he was, a phony. And I think that if they see Biden for what he is, not only a phony, but an incompetent one, then of course all of this can turn around. But there's so much hanging on this that if that doesn't happen, we are going to be in big trouble. It means that the Democrats will be able to appoint the next whatever number of Supreme Court justices turn up during their term. They have so many counterproductive policies out there that I'm not sure the country can recover from it.
Like I said, I don't want to be on no one side. I don't want to make it seem like I'm coming in here to bang on the president, hate on brother Biden. Not at all. But it's just, bro, the man press secretary, bro. Let me find it. See, I don't really like just saying stuff to y'all. Take this off the screen real quick. I don't like just saying stuff to people because they probably think I was just making stuff up because I want to hear myself fucking talk. Yeah, I need to start cursing. But yeah, so I'm gonna just go to this video really quick.
Hear me clearly. America is not a racist country. It's backwards to fight discrimination with different types of discrimination. And it's wrong to try to use our painful past to dishonestly shut down debates in the present.
Boy, that's something I still marvel over. But now, my question is real simple.
Hey, and you just got to understand, on the No Face No Case Godcast, I'm always make sure we understand that these have been our ways. That's why when I'm listening to these things, I'm trying to tell y'all, yo, we got to kind of get out of that feelings type of situation where we start blaming people where now you're overly blaming, and it's like, was the other blame even serious? The fact that you just went this far with it. So what am I saying? Well, the brother Neely Fuller say, we're not trying to replace the system of white supremacy with black supremacy. We're trying to replace the system of white supremacy with a system of justice. That's what the brother is saying. We got to make sure we're justified. That's all. You feel me? So I understand I understand, bro.
Conservatives, and for that matter, everyone else, just follow Senator Scott's lead and his elegant platform against wokeism and cancel culture and critical race theory and high taxes and welfare without workfare. And by the way, our next guest, Ben Carson, former distinguished housing secretary, he says we should be focusing on not equity, but inequality. That's what we should focus on. Not a matter of equity, it's a matter of equality, of opportunity. Ben, thank you for coming back on the show. I've spent some time dissecting and talking about what Tim Scott said because, you know, it's a tough sell to do the counterattack, as you know, against the State of the Union. And I thought he made a tremendous statement. And Ben, I think in some ways, because of what Scott has done and because of what you have done, including your op-ed piece, but also you just being you these many years, we actually may have the wokes on the run if we continue this. What do you think?
Well, I think a lot of people are truly waking up and seeing what's going on and recognizing that, the things that are the foundations of our country are not the things that are being espoused by the woke generation. We have never been a country that tried to punish people who didn't agree with us. We have never been a country that would choose one group over another group rather than try to have fairness and justice. Now, we've not always succeeded at that. There's no question about that. But we've made enormous progress. And we recognize what is right versus what is wrong. Does it sound right to judge people based on a characteristic that they cannot change, that they had nothing to do with? Or would it be better to judge them based on things that they have, dominion over? That's the only thing that makes any sense. And I think the American people are starting to realize that. And I think a lot of people are getting sick and tired, quite frankly,
of
this wokeness.
That's my thought. I mean, between your work and Senator Scott's work, I think this is a pivotal moment since the election where for the first time, more traditional conservative forces have the progressive left back on their heels.
Yeah, absolutely. They do.
I mean, I think Biden was taken by surprise, Ben. You know what I'm saying? I think he was not prepared for what Scott said. And I just want to read your key line from your op-ed, which was in mid-April, but I don't want to forget about this. You say the focus has moved from equality to equity, and you're saying instead of pursuing Reverend Martin Luther King Jr.'s ideal of judging people by the content of their character rather than the color of their skin, equity would reward and punish people because of the color of their skin rather than equality of opportunity. Equity would mandate equality of outcome, which runs counter to all America's traditions. Now, I think the time is now. We should be outspoken on this. We should not be bashful. We should be outspoken on everything you're saying, on everything Scott's saying.
We have to be, because what are we doing to our children? What is happening when children are told, if they're white, that you're inherently evil, you're the cause of so many problems, and if you're black, that you're a victim? As children are trying to develop their own self-concept, and now you're heaping all of this garbage on top of them. What effect is that going to have in the long run? You couple that with some of the other crazy things we're doing, like, frightening kids to death about a virus which is rapidly dissipating and which we've gotten control of and which children can't even, transmit very well. But little children develop a lot of their sense of who a person is and what they mean by looking at their face and their facial expressions. What happens when that doesn't happen? How does that affect their socialization process? So they don't have that socialization. And at the same time, they have people telling them that they're evil or that they're victims and that the whole society needs to be changed. I really believe that the majority of Americans know better than that. It was a bait and switch. During the election, Joe Biden was supposed to be moderate. He's probably to the left of Bernie Sanders. So I think people are saying, they're waking up from being caught in the headlights and are going to start thinking. But, this is not about, as I've said before, Democrats and Republicans. This is about people who appreciate America for the ideal of liberty and freedom and justice versus people who want something completely different, a utopian society where the government takes care of you from cradle to grave and you give them all power. That doesn't work.
Ben, I dare say Biden and Harris and the others do not know how to handle you and Scott and others and the arguments you all are making. I don't think they know how to handle it. And one of the things I love about what you all are doing is you're dealing with these issues, including this racist issue, head on, and fighting back with American values. That's why I'm begging all of you to just go out there and be as public as you possibly can. I don't think the other side could deal with it. And that is the way it should be. We just got to fight back. For too long, we didn't fight back.
All right. So like I don't want to go to a particular news, John, because I know how people get sometimes. They say, "Yo, bro, you must be watching that news station." I don't know, bro. Maybe I am, bro. It's so dark over here, man. Oh, lights is weird. But with the critical race theory, if you if you pontificating on it, it's actually not that bad to pontificate about. The practicum of it, I'm not absolutely sure about that aspect of it, right? But if we're coming from the angle where it's like, yo, T, what about this? Yeah, it sounds good, but then what about when we get out there and in practice, and then we say, okay, what about him? Why the system didn't get him? Okay. So he can get by doing that. Okay, what about him? Okay, so you said the system didn't get him for okay. You feel me? You start adding things up and you start wondering, okay, so what, like where, like I said earlier when me and Empress was speaking, what I said, we have to be cautionary about lines, right? Because once lines are drawn or even crossed, okay, right? So once they're drawn, I have to figure out where they lie, because they're right there, they're drawn, because by fact, they're already drawn now. So now I know where they lie. So now I walk up to them and I'm like, okay, they say beyond this is such and such and such. What is the beyond the critical race theory that's such and such and such that you can prove definitively? Like I'm seeing people, they say, yo, this is a scam, that's a scam. People, y'all ain't really doing that. Ain't really a lot of students that's successful. Cool. I'm not knocking none of it, right? But then again, what is the difference between the student that's successful, right? Would you be able to go into the portal and be able to show me like, yeah, that they're homeboys, this other student not actually successful? Okay. You feel me? I'm just trying to figure out, because with the same thing with school, the same thing with all these other systems, but we don't call them scam. Not everybody that go to school, I don't know what you're really supposed to go to school for in particular. There's so many different things. So I don't even know, how would you even, bro, we're gonna have to get to a point that we start to say, okay, what if it's not the critical race theory system, right? Like, what if we can go about it a tad bit different and get some other results? Would we try that way? Will we be like, nah, that ain't the route though, T? We never agreed upon it. Like I'm honestly trying to figure out this very moment. Critical race theory is saying this is all called by the white man and that and that and that. The line is now drawn, and now I say, okay. So now beyond the line, I see somebody that's beyond the line, meaning that he's black and he's not doing what you told us that we had to do, or what we were limited to do, because if we did this will happen, and you can't go around them because they yeah. I'm not knocking it in totality, right? But I'm more so solution based. So right now, at this very moment, I'm trying to get to almost understanding, right? I'm trying to figure out what is actually the critical race theory situation. Like, all right, so you said if we abide by this, you're telling us that we're just gonna be able to live in poverty. Cause like, you feel me? I'm trying to figure out what is the alternative. Like, are they giving us another alternative? Or they like, yeah, but you don't really only have to do that though, bro. You feel me? I got another angle. You feel me? I'm trying to figure that out. Okay. So since I played that, I'm gonna go play. I'm typing on the wrong keyboard, huh? Yeah, I got almost 18 keyboards going right now, but so shout out. 1 second here. That's when he talks about the future of America, and I want to play that one kind of because it's almost compound. So I might not even play it. I'm not gonna play this whole thing. I'm gonna double back and double back. So because I know that John like doing weird stuff, I'm gonna throw him in the full screen. No, I can't do that. I can't do that, man. I can't do that, y'all. So I'm gonna share the screen first.
Are in fact the same people at different stages of their lives. Close quote. So getting worked up about income inequality is pointless, ill-informed.
But yes, and sometimes it's simply a propaganda trick, depending on who's doing it. I read Piketty's stuff.
Piketty, Thomas Piketty, the French economist.
Is income inequality. Inequality of income and wealth has surged, and nowhere has it surged more than in the U.S., where reliance on free market forces has been stronger.
The gap between rich and poor Americans is one of the biggest challenges facing the country.
Inequality within the United States, basic economics, again, I'm quoting you, Tom. Although people in the top income brackets and the bottom income brackets, the rich and the poor, as they are often called, may be discussed as if they were different classes of people, often they are in fact the same people at different stages of their lives, close quote.
Yeah.
So getting worked up about income inequality is pointless, ill-informed.
But yes, and sometimes it's simply a propaganda trick, depending on who's doing it. I read Piketty's stuff.
Piketty, Thomas Piketty, the French economist who published a book this year called Capitalism.
Right, and he's a star around the world for doing so. And he talks about how the top 10% are separate from the rest of us, and they are able to do all sorts of nefarious things. And then since then, I've gone and done a little research, and it turns out that 56% of all American households will be in the top 10% at some point or other in their lives, usually when they're older.
Wow. Over half.
And
over half will be in the top. All right.
Yes. And actually, and when you get down to the top 1%, it's even more incredible. Of all the people in the top 1% in the course of a decade, the great majority, are there 1 year. Only 13% are there 2 years. And so we're talking about people who have a spike in income in 1 year for some reason or other. They inherited something.
They sell their company.
They have assets accumulated over the years, and they sell them in that 1 year. I mean, in the year I haven't checked, but I wouldn't be surprised if I hit my income peak when I sold my house on the Stanford campus, and have never been near that since. No, and of course, it was all absorbed in paying for another house elsewhere. So
welcome to California.
Right.
So Piketty, I'm glad you raised Piketty, because I had a question or two about him. As I understand it, his basic argument is that the return on capital, examined over many decades throughout the Western world, the return on capital exceeds the rate of economic growth. Therefore, holders of capital will get rich faster than anybody else. And holders of capital tend to be consistent over time, one family shifting capital to the next generation to the next. And so you get income inequality, which breeds class distinctions, political tensions, and so forth. And Tom Sowell's answer to this is?
Well, partly what I just mentioned, that over the course of people's lifetime, much of the disparity consists of different people at different stages of their lives.
Right. So
and moreover, over time, for example, back in 1951, people reached their peak income between 35 and 44 years of age. And those people in that bracket made about 60% more than people who were in their early 20s. Go forward a few years, And now they're making more than twice as much as people in their 20s. And go forward another decade or so, and now the whole bracket has moved up to 45 to 54. And now they're making 3 times what people in their low. And what it means is that as time goes on, the advantages of youth, namely strength and energy, count for less and less because machines provide the power, but you have to more and more be able to do more complicated things.
Experience and knowledge matter more and more,
and
relative to brawn.
Yes, and when you think about it, if we measure adult life at the beginning at 18, then that means that a man who's 40 years old has more than 10 times the experience of a man who's 20 years old.
Right, right.
So there's nothing mysterious about any of it.
Market failure and government failure. Basic economics. Quote, the imperfections of the marketplace have led many to see government interventions as necessary and beneficial. Franklin Roosevelt would have said so, and many since. Yet the imperfections of the market must be weighed against the imperfections of the government. Explain that.
You know, it always amazes me that people think that if you say the market is imperfect, that means the government must step in. And I think, you know, we're so much more rational in sports. I mean, when Babe Ruth went up there and struck out, they didn't say, we got to send in a pinch hitter for him next time at bat. Because who knows, the pinch hitter might strike out, and he's not as likely to hit a home run as Babe Ruth is. When Warren Harding took office in 1921, the unemployment rate was around 12%. Warren Harding did absolutely nothing. As the government's revenue fell because of the downturn, he cut government spending. Now both those things are things that drive the Keynesians crazy.
Right.
The following year, unemployment had fallen to about half that level.
Within a year.
Yes, and then a year after that, it fell yet again. You know, there is a history. The first time the federal government intervened in the economy to get us out of a downturn was in 1930. Now, which means that for more than 150 years, the federal government just stood by and twiddled their thumbs while the economy recovered on its own. And all that time, there was never a depression as bad as the 1930s depression, where there was all kinds of intervention, beginning with Herbert Hoover helping help us, and then amplified by Franklin D. Roosevelt. So in terms of you looking at what happened as a matter of fact, again, there was no Federal Reserve prior to 1914. The Federal Reserve was created in order to, one, cut back on bank failures, reduce inflation, and prevent deflation. All of those things reached historic highs never seen before under the Federal Reserve. So the idea was wonderful. It's only the reality that didn't cooperate.
Hey, see, and that goes back to the point. Remember when I was just explaining this critical race theory, right? So it's the thought of it and the idea of it always sound good. You can run the number by me like, yo, the top % got all this wealth and this and that, and it's like, okay. And once we already seen your shit, that's socialism, bro. It hasn't been proven to work anywhere, but I guess they're gonna tell you, nah, T, it's neo-socialism that we're rocking with right now. It's a different form. I don't know how many different ways we need to see some wrong shit be done, bro, to figure out that it's wrong. But I guess at least you changing up the method, nigga. You don't think you insane. Nah, I ain't do this last time, T. I had did it with 2 circles. I got 3 circles this time. Oh, big change, bro. Big things popping. I just played the Thomas so well. And damn, I just got distracted explaining this to I got this next video on my job, but this is not the video that we're running. Okay. So I just played that, I just played this. And hold on 1 second. I should have in a booth right now, actually. We were just on Biden. Then we went to critical race theory, and I said, okay. This angle right here. My bad, people. My bad, bro. 1 second, I'm coming. Right now. Why it's taking me so long? This is a short one too, so I could do something going somewhere in there. So. I rob you before you rob me. That's all. That's all I hear little bruh saying, man. This was a cash in transit situation in South Africa. It was a transit situation in South Africa. I had it all written down. Man. Let me get my notes real quick. Give me 1 second. Let me grab your notes. No. I got stupid distracted. My bad watching these goddamn chart. Okay, I know what I was about to go to. See how easy that is for me, bro. Let's see what I need. Easy. First couple of seconds, I wasn't thinking about it. So that's my bad on that one. Switching phones.
I'm right here, y'all. I'm gonna run this one. This not the John, but I'll run this one real quick. And I'll search for it in the background.
Ago this month was an important moment in the evolution of U.S. central banking. That meeting is also the reason for the gathering here today. An important outcome of the 1910 meeting was a proposal for an institution with multiple branches, which became in part the model for the decentralized structure of the Federal Reserve System. A series of financial panics, culminating in the Panic of 1907, prompted Congress to undertake a series of steps toward reforming the nation's monetary system to promote macroeconomic stabilization. Congress passed the Aldrich-Vreeland Act in 1908, establishing an 18-member National Monetary Commission chaired by Rhode Island Senator Nelson Aldrich. The commission was charged with finding a way to reform the nation's monetary system, but progress was slow, and by 1910, the commission could not agree on a plan. Aldrich took matters into his own hands, meeting with a group of bankers on Jekyll to formulate a plan. The group included bankers Paul Warburg, Henry Davidson, and Frank Vanderlip. Also present were Aldrich's secretary, Arthur Shelton, and A. Piet Andrew, a Treasury official. Warburg's attendance was critical because of his knowledge of European banking practices. Aldrich was well aware that his meeting with bankers outside of the commission proceedings would generate controversy, which is why the group met at the remote Jekyll Island location. What emerged from the Jekyll meeting was the so-called Aldrich Plan, presented to the National Monetary Commission as a legislative blueprint. It became a catalyst for debate about the role of the government and banking in the central bank's governance. Representing a departure from the centralized governments of European central banks, the plan proposed that a National Reserve Association would function as the U.S. central bank. The association would consist of a federation of 15 regional bank associations, each to be presided over by boards of directors elected by the local banks. Aldrich's proposed central bank would promote economic stability by providing for greater financial stability. Though the bill Aldrich put forward to the U.S. Senate in January 1912 was not acted on, many of the proposals that came out of the Jekyll meeting remained at the core of the subsequent steps in the creation of the Federal Reserve. After the election of Woodrow Wilson in 1912, Congressman Carter Glass of Virginia, who had led an investigation into the concentration of power on Wall Street, assumed leadership of monetary reform, along.
So you hear now is coming in already. They explain it in a sense where you're not looking at it in the same sense because you just went through a crisis, right? Same thing with the pandemic. We all know that the vaccine go through a lengthy trial or whatever the situation is to be able to get it on board. So that's why even when they don't give their brother Trump, you feel me? When they don't give their brother Trump his credit, I'm like, that's odd, because the way we speak on it is as if we wanted the vaccine, so he had Operational Warp Speed to get everything done within a speedier time limit, and then we turned it on them and was like, well, we're not taking it. I don't know. Now we got this other guy walking around saying, yo, shout out to me for the economy. Okay, man. Be careful, bro.
By the President and confirmed by the Senate. This centenary conference will examine how well the Federal Reserve's historical performance has matched the vision of its conceptual founders, both at Jekyll and in Congress, and what the Fed's near 100-year track record all
Peep the angles.
How has this, ever since it came out, hurt America? How has it helped? So what's been the positive impact and the negative impact?
Well, it sounds extreme to say that I cannot think of any positive impact, but it's true. I cannot think of any positive impact.
None.
None. I cannot think of any because it's a parasite. It's a fraud. It's based on a lie. It's a cartel. Now we have to understand, when a cartel is formed, it has only one purpose, and that's to advance the benefit of the members of the cartel, period. Anything beyond that, I mean, if you were president or an executive officer of an oil cartel and you started talking about what's good for the people of Venezuela or Mexico, and maybe we ought to cut our prices and our profit margins so we can benefit the poor people of Mexico, you'd be out of a job in a heartbeat. So the same thing is true with the banking cartel. They have to talk endlessly about stabilizing the economy and, making jobs and preserving the purchase power of the dollar and all these good things. But in their hearts, no, that's just for cover. All they're concerned about is what is best for the banks. And if you doubt that, just take a look at the report card. If we were to give the Federal Reserve System a report card from 1913 on, when it was formed supposedly to stabilize the purchasing power of the dollar, let's say, and to provide all these good benefits for the people, it would fail. It'd be at failing marks all the way down. It has never succeeded in doing that. It's led us into a couple of the greatest depressions you can imagine. It's leading us into a huge depression any day now. It's already happening. And the purchasing power of the dollar has lost 97% since 1913. It takes, 97% of the purchasing power of the dollar has been lost since 1913 under the guidance of the Federal Reserve System.
How do you come up with that number? How is that number? When you say 97%, that means it's 3 cents to a dollar. How do you come up with that number, 97%?
Those numbers come from the Federal Reserve System itself, believe it or not, because there are studies on what is inflation, what's the inflationary effect. And those numbers are really easy to find, by the way. It's kind of hard to distort them. They're just hard numbers. What does it cost to buy a pound of hamburger, in 1913 or today? What does it cost for a quart of milk or a gallon of gas? And they have these baskets of things. They keep changing it to try and soften the impact. But no matter how often they change it, even in my lifetime, I remember for a penny, talk about penny candy in those days. For a penny, I could go to a candy store and get a nice big chunk of candy, one that cost me $1 today. Or 50 cents for sure. Anyway, these numbers are readily available. And so if anybody doubts it, and I don't blame them because it's a harsh figure, look it up. You'll find it easily on the internet. 97% the purchasing power has been eroded since 1913. So the Federal Reserve, which is supposed to be the guardian to prevent all of this stuff, gets a failing mark on its report card. But now if you understand, as I learned, that is not the goal of the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve is not a government agency. It's not formed to protect the people. It's the cartel. It's formed to protect the banks. Now, if you realize that is their goal and give another report card, man, they get all A's because the banks always get bailed out every time they get into trouble. The banks may fail, but they get the taxpayers to cough up the money somehow, and they're back in business again, doing all their same tricks again. The banks are always making record profits. And so we understand it's a cartel, and on that basis, it gets all straight A's. Why are these competitors
And that's
coming to some kind of an agreement?
That's the other angle.
Most of the wealth of the world, and here they were putting together a piece of legislation. Some historians have referred to that as the dawning of the age of the cartel, a banking cartel.
Now, when you say most of the wealth in the world, how much money are you talking about?
I have no idea, but it's unimaginable.
So what's been the positive impact and the negative impact?
I cannot think of any positive impact.
None.
It's a parasite. It's a fraud. It's based on a lie. They have to talk endlessly.
First of all, they were trying to hide the fact that this legislation for banking reform was being written by the banks themselves who were causing the problem. Secondly, they wanted to present it in such a way that nobody would understand that what they were forming was a cartel. It had to look like it was legislation, but if anybody knew that they who were competitors, these were the tops of various banks who were competing with each other. And they had ties, close ties with international banks who often would compete with each other for big deals, big loans and so forth. And it would raise questions to say, why are these competitors meeting together and coming to some kind of an agreement? And it wouldn't take long before you could figure out that, after all, this was the turn of the last century. And some historians have referred to that as the dawning of the age of the cartel. Well, this is exactly what they were creating. It was not a government agency they were creating. They were creating a cartel, no different than a banana cartel, an oil cartel. It just happened to be a banking cartel. So all of these things had to be concealed from the public, which is why they went to Jekyll Island. So when they got it all done, they went back to Washington, D.C., of course. Senator Aldrich took this cartel agreement, and figuratively speaking, he took an eraser and erased the name cartel agreement from the top of it. And for political purposes, it became now known as the Federal Reserve Act. It became a bill. So they know-nothing congressmen and senators really didn't understand what was going on, except they thought, well, this was legislation that's going to make me look good because I can say I'm all for banking reform. And so they voted for it, thinking it was really banking reform. And then when you look at the nature of it, it was all about how to preserve the advantages that the banks had and how they could continue to dominate the whole financial industry without new competition coming in and displacing their strong position. And they could do it in the name of serving the people. Not only that, there was a bonus thrown on top of it. They had gone there primarily just to control their own industry so that nobody could tinker with their deals. But before they walked out of this whole thing, they had gotten the power to create the nation's money supply. That was not part of the original plan. It's hard to figure out who thought of that, but it would have been absurd to say that here's a nation, the United States, which, like all nations, had its sovereign right to issue its own money, would give up that right and give it to the private banks and say, okay, we're not going to issue United States money. We'll let the private banks issue United States money, and nobody will notice that there was a switch because it'll still say United States of America on top of the bills. But instead of saying United States of America Treasury note, now it says United States of America Federal Reserve System. So they got everything they wanted plus a bonus, which was to capture control of the ability to issue money on behalf of the United States. So that is the short version of what happened and how it happened. Nobody understood it. It was complicated. They concealed it in very academic type language. They had a lot of college professors talking about it, ratios of this and funny words that nobody ever heard of. But it was really one of the greatest crimes of all history. That's what I discovered when I started to read about it. And so I decided to tell the story, not as like a textbook on money and banking, but as the story of a crime, which it was. So instead of talking about the details of banking, I talked about the crime, who did it, why they did it, how they did it, and where they buried the body, and what that means to us.
So, when Mr. G, when somebody listens to that, if you're comfortable with me calling you Mr. G, is that okay with you?
Well, that's absolutely okay.
Okay.
Yes.
So, when I listen to your story and you're going through this, so on one end, it's very convincing. And I say, okay, this is great. I cannot believe this took place. These guys are getting together. On the other end, if I'm a skeptic and some people who are not fans of yours, they may say, well, what are your sources? How did you get all this research to get all this data? Where did that come from? Why should somebody sit here and say, well, he's telling the truth? He's not, internet research. What kind of research were you getting? Did you meet these folks? Did you
Abraham Piatt Andrew was the second guy there. He was the Assistant Secretary of the U.S. Treasury. But that doesn't tell you enough, because even though he was an official of the government, his background was banking. Maybe people have not noticed, but most of the secretaries of the Treasury are really bankers, aren't they? That's where they come from, the banking field.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah, so you talk about regulatory capture. The banks have taken over the U.S. Treasury and everything to do with money in the federal government. And this had already happened back in this day. Frank A. Vanderlip was the president of the First National City Bank of New York. And that was one of the most powerful banks of the time. And he represented the financial interests of William Rockefeller and the international banking house of Kuhn Loeb and Company. Then there was Henry P. Davison, who was the senior partner of the J.P. Morgan Company. Benjamin Strong was there. He was head of J.P. Morgan's Bankers Trust Company. Paul Warburg was there. He's more important than all of the others in terms of putting it together, because he was the guy that had the connections in Europe. He was a partner in the Kuhn Loeb and Company. He also represented the banking fraternity, or the clan, you might call it, that dominated Europe at the time, France and England in particular. And his brother Max Warburg was the head of the War Banking Consortium in Germany and the Netherlands. Now you put all these things together, these guys dominated about most of the wealth of the world. And here they were putting together a piece of legislation that's supposed to control the big bad bankers.
Now, when you say most of the wealth in the world, how much money are you talking about? Like, comparable to today's money, how wealthy were the Rockefellers and the J.P. Morgan Chase if they were compared to today's wealth?
Well, I don't know how to express it in terms of dollars. All I can say is sometimes it's not how much money you actually hold, although they certainly held a tremendous amount of it. And I think the official estimates of some of the people who were writing about this at the time in the New York Times, I was going through the microfilm and reading all the editorial comments and the letters to the editors from people who had positions of authority, writing and expressing their views on this. And I came up with several quotes that I have in my book where these guys were estimating that this consortium that I just mentioned controlled 1/4 of the wealth of the entire world. Now, that I noticed the word control. That doesn't mean they owned it. But you don't have to own something to control something. And for example, they owned the insurance companies. Well, the insurance companies had invested in stocks in a lot of corporations, and the insurance companies actually controlled the voting of the stock. So a big enough block of it, anyway, that they could determine who is elected as the president, and they could determine the board of directors and all that sort of thing. They could only maybe hold 5% or 3% of the actual stock of the company. But if you can concentrate that much in a big corporation, it's pretty easy, relatively easy to dominate it. So when you add all of that together, these people controlled 1/4 of the world, of the financials of the world, assets of the world at that time. How many dollars that would be, I have no idea, but it's just unimaginable. And it hasn't gotten any better since then, I can tell you that.
So once they had this meeting at Jekyll Island, they all agreed that they're coming out with the Federal Reserve Act. How was it sold to the American people once they left?
Well, it was sold to the American people on the basis that it was for their good, that this at last was a means of controlling the big bad bankers and making sure that the banks operated honestly, that they weren't going to go bankrupt, and people wouldn't lose their deposits in the banks anymore, would all be backed by the good faith and credit of the United States government. And there would be, very trustworthy people overlooking every aspect of the business to make sure there were no inside deals and all that sort of thing. It was sold as just a wonderful thing. And that's the message, at least. That was the story. But it's interesting when you get into to see that a lot of that story was coming from the bankers themselves. They had hired, they'd hired public relations firms, and they had formed organizations that looked like they were grassroots organizations, but they were formed by people, economists. Sometimes they were professors, sometimes they were business people, but who all were dependent. Economically dependent upon the bankers for their livelihood. And they would go out and form some local group like the Chicago Committee for Banking Reform or something like that. And they'd get some college professor who had a nice grant coming from one of the banks, and they would write a pamphlet or give some speeches and say, this is a wonderful thing. This is going to stabilize the economy of America and preserve the savings of the average person. So it was coming from everywhere. But what people didn't know is that the finances for it was all coming from the same source, which was the banking industry. And even some of the bankers went so far as to write articles and give speeches that they knew would be publicized, where they criticized the very thing they had created. They had said in a couple of speeches that I quote in my book, one guy had said that, well, this is going to be bad.
There's an article out this week that talked about President Klain, and that may be an unknown name to viewers, but that's referring to Ron Klain, the chief of staff. They said that he's in charge of orchestrating this FDR, LBJ-like type spending, this, tremendous transformation of American society. But from a comms perspective, it certainly seems like the press secretary may be calling the shots. She said we encourage him not to take questions. And as you'll know, Biden repeatedly will say, hey, this got to be last question. I'm going to get in trouble here. And you always wonder, well, who's he going to get in trouble by? Seems like the White House press shop.
They don't let him out there for very long. They don't let him answer questions freely from the press. What are they covering up? I mean, there is a suspicion that he's tired, that he fumbles, that he's unfocused. Is that why they're protecting him?
There's no doubt about it. I mean, anyone who watches him sees that he has trouble in the freewheeling back and forth and jousting of a White House press briefing. So they're absolutely trying to control the style that they just feel like does not work for him. And that's why, this article I referenced from the Times said that they're pacing Biden. He ends his days usually by 5 or 6 p.m. They're pacing him so he can be in it for the long run, whether that's the next 3 years or the next 7 years if he wants a second term.
But why don't they bring on Vice President Harris? I mean, she presumably could answer questions. She could be vigorous and dynamic on camera. Why don't they bring her in?
Oh, she doesn't want to be asked about the border. It's plain and simple. What she's trying to do is hedge her bets that she will be the next president of the United States following Biden, especially if he doesn't run for another term. So they're trying to carefully manufacture her appearance, which is why she's in charge of this nebulous Central American country origin problem, but not the border crisis. There's not a lot of good answers to some of what we're seeing going on. This jobs report, immigration, and other areas where they have a perilous terrain should they take questions. I think they're manufacturing her appearance to prep her to be the next commander-in-chief, and that means staying away from those press conferences.
Katie, as you know, Twitter has suspended Donald Trump's new account from the desk of Donald J. Trump. I see this as a flat-out attack on free speech and a flat-out attack on the former president. When's it going to end? That's my question, Kaylee.
It's not going to end. And I think that this is a really troubling development. So their logic was we're banning President Trump because he can't be trusted with a Twitter account, was Twitter's logic in the wake of January 6th. Well, now we know this isn't about stopping one individual, a leader of the free world from speaking. It's about stamping out his entire movement. So you're unaffiliated with Trump and you're posting his statements and you still aren't even allowed to post his statements as a third party. This is next level. And I think instead of trying to stamp out a president, they're trying to stamp out a movement. That's what that signals to me. It's always been their design.
Kelly McInerney, thank you for taking time out of a very busy day.
T, you in the building?
What's up?
Coolin', man. Chilling. What's going on?
Nothing. Chilling. Just got settled down.
That's what's up. Yeah, I was just running through this goddamn because the main I've been talking about Biden really not really. I've been talking about motherfucking Democratic lies and just talking about how people like how they get set up because I just played the video with the IRS, well, the Federal Reserve situation, and how nigga the whole way that they sold it was on some shit like, yo, y'all just came out of a crash, bro, and think about what the bank did. So like they sold it on like, yo, we can't even trust the bank no more, bro. Like we all need to rock with this shit. And like, if you look at the system that they've been running, nigga, it's way worse than what the little bullshit banks was doing before.
Mm-hmm.
So man, so yeah, I was saying we gotta be cautious about trusting people like the way Biden, he ain't here giving out all this money and we sitting back like, yeah, bro, we need some money, bro. Them people too rich. Like, I don't think we really understand inflation. Like,
Yep. I literally was just talking to this crazy. I was literally just talking to my cousin about this today because, you know, I'm not a Republican. I don't identify with either party, honestly. But I think if anything, I take on like more conservative views, especially because I look at politics from a money standpoint. But I was telling him too, I'm like, before we know it, we're gonna drive ourselves right into socialism because everybody looking at like, oh, free money, free money, free money. And then guess what? When they inflate when stuff gets inflated and then people can't afford it because a lot of people are not gonna have the mentality of, oh, I need to go get up and go get it. Everybody like, well, the white people didn't have money this long. This time of year. No, nigga, you still need to get up and go work. Cause eventually that's how they gonna trick you out of your freedom, trying to give you a little hush money every month, giving you enough to cover your little bills so you could chill out and you don't feel like you worried about nothing. Then next thing you know, they telling you what you need to believe in and who you need to believe in. You know, it's really just a rabbit hole.
I'm telling you, bro, it's the snowball just get bigger as it goes
It
down the
do.
hill.
There's nothing the government give. Nothing. No type of benefits, none of that.
Hey, and it ain't even that far fetched because we just seen it happen a couple years back when Venezuela started rocking with the American system and getting, and now nigga they ain't even living over there. They said the grocery store closed down because there ain't nothing in the grocery stores no more.
Mm-hmm. Where
So
they from?
like,
America.
so they do this on purpose, bro. Even with the border situation, like I don't think we know this was going on. And then just recently, the secretary Janet Yellen came out, and she was saying she came out initially, and she was like, "Yo, I don't know what bruh's been saying, but inflation coming." And like within 5 minutes or so, nigga, she was back out there on the podium, and she was like, "Nah, you ain't got to worry about nothing. Everything good." Because look, immediately.
She spoke too fast and spoke too much.
Bro, immediately when she said that, the whole stock market dropped. They understand that this shit fake, bro. They got to play this game as long as they could play it.
Guess who else came out and spoke about it recently?
Go
Warren
in.
Buffett.
For real.
Warren Buffett came out and spoke out about it in the article. I just read it. I wish I still had the link. I was reading it the other day, and they were telling you the means of how to overcome inflation. Talking about figure out how to make more money on your overhead. I'm like, well, duh. But if people like that telling us it's coming, it's coming. Because Warren Buffett, Berkshire Hathaway is like literally the overhead for a lot of companies. That's a lot of income being controlled.
Man, they don't even get it, bro. And I was saying the same thing with Doge. Just to just think about how much people made money off of that. It's a lot of things that got the market super unbalanced. Think about how much people they say Americans got a crazy amount of savings now because it ain't really a lot of stuff to do. So like, I don't know. Maybe that's why they're forcing us back out to you feel me, shopping and things like that. They're trying to get that revenue
To
back.
stimulate the economy. That's what stimulus is for. That's what all this stuff is for. They need this money to be put back because guess what? People start to wake up and realize too, okay, if money not circulating around like that, where they getting all this money from? So that's why they giving you a little hush money like, yeah, we know we told y'all don't send your kids to school, don't go to church, don't meet with your family. But here go $1,400 and a little $500 for the kids.
Hey, and they deserve no respect because remember the original package was $2,000. Trump sent out 600. You feel me? Trump sent out 600 because he was like, "Yo, let's get this done." These motherfuckers came in and sent out 1,400. Like, yo, nah, he already sent out six. Y'all ain't got nothing to do with that. Y'all ain't want none of that to pass. So like, I don't even get like, how is that even? Nah, bro, send out the 2,000 that was in the package that we supposed to get. Which, like, bro, I'm telling you, bro, the government, bro. I don't know how people even trust them, bro. Like little 1,400 handout, bro. They sneaky.
I mean,
bro.
I understand why people trust them because you got to think about it. At one point, we was believing in the government a little bit too.
All facts.
You know, So it's their design, their system is so intricate that a lot of times it can, it will leave you confused and have you thinking. Cause I lived in DC in the height of politics. I was living in DC when Obama became president. So I was heavy into politics. I grew up in a military household. But once I learned what was really going on and what really affected politics, I didn't really care about politics anymore. Because I realized it's money. That's the same. Money and power is what drive these people. So if you ain't got no money, you ain't got no power.
Man, you couldn't have said it any more better. But the thing is, they trick us and they say, yo, you can't never get money though. It's critical race theories out there. They're telling you that white people holding you down. And like earlier when I said that, I was like, okay, if they drew that line, why is it other people on the other side of the line? How did they make it? Fuck all this critical race theory shit. How did they make it? I want to figure they shit out.
Thank you. And I get so tired of people talking about, well, if the white man got this money, I'm like, bro, you living in the land of the free.
Everybody come here for opportunities.
Right. Like, we complain about America's not perfect, but we got it so much better than a lot of other countries.
Man, I can't tell you a country that got it better, man. I don't know what country. China is fucking dictated. Russia is Russia. I don't think there's possibly no country, bro, unless they real small and they ain't got no big capitalist shit that everybody loves. So
for real,
you feel me? You got to kind of take the good with the bad, bro. We have never seen a system this profitable or this, like, it's just, I don't know, bro. It's the land of opportunity, bro. You can go somewhere else, bro, and you can be a great musician, bro, and you be nobody.
Nobody.
In America, you're a great musician, bro. You could do something.
You could be nobody and still make money. That's how awesome. Like, the people who hate capitalism so much, and yes, it's some dirty, parts about capitalism, but it's some dirty parts about all types of government infrastructure.
Hey, the main reason why capitalism bad is because of crony capitalism, meaning that nigga, they control, you feel me? They control who's being able to capitalize. It's not, you feel me? It's not as free as we thought capitalism was supposed to be. It's like, oh, nah, it's favoritism still.
Or is it right? Or is it because it's not even about capitalism. It's about the rich, like you saying, control the rich, wanting to stay rich and keep their friends rich and keep their family rich and keep that. It's the wealth disparity that is causing the issue in America. And because there's such a surplus of money in general, especially to those people who have it accessible, it's a surplus of money. But I think the problem with the masses is they don't really look at it like, okay, I also have a surplus of money. I just haven't figured out how to tap into it yet. Everybody want to get comfortable and talk about what they did and don't have. Like, me and my granddad got into it last Father's Day at brunch because he was like, he want to vote for Joe Biden because he know he gonna get a seat at the table. Man, if you don't build your own table, I don't want to sit at nobody. They say, I want my own table, okay? And I want those who I want to eat at. That's who I want at that table with me. I don't care what they eat at their table. I don't want no parts of their table.
Yeah, I'm trying to tell you, I don't know how we started doing that. That's what I was saying earlier. I was like, bro, we got to be very careful about this shit.
Kamala Harris to be president.
Oh, 100% fact. That's why they protected her, bro. I'm telling you, bro, she ain't handling nothing. The border crisis going on, she ain't do nothing. The last thing I heard her say, nigga, she donating money to the cause. She donated more money just so that the kids could be taken care of a little better, I'm guessing. She bugged out. Yo, we live in the funniest country, bro.
But the thing is, too,
go in.
We really do. We really do. I don't know. It's kind of crazy to me. But inflation is definitely coming. I honestly kind of seen this a year ago. And, with inflation comes some.
As president, I'll make sure we get it done.
With that view, it is therefore inevitable.
They start growing their own food, man.
Hey, that's the main thing. My dog was saying how, nigga, he got his youth in such a position that when he go to other people's house and they ain't got no garden, he be confused. Like, Daddy, why they ain't got no garden? That's the level we got to get on with this shit, nigga. Where it's like,
Where
yo,
they vegetables at?
yeah.
For real.
To all of us that the $15 minimum wage will be achieved. The $7.25 minimum wage that exists now is in many instances,
Vegetables, my granddad, now he got a good like he was one of the first like black landscapers at Disney when they first opened. So he's extremely like gifted in that area. And I think a lot of people kind of take that type of skill for granted, or they don't look at it like it's worth something. But I'm like, that is so useful. They can't literally eat for the rest of their life. You got to bring your own food. You got to fish. You could eat for the rest of your life. I mean, it might take you a little while to eat sometimes, but point being, you could feed yourself if you ain't got to go to nobody to get food.
Hey, and that's the way we're supposed to be eating, though. Moderate. That's why you're supposed to be hunting your food. Because when you hunt, in the hunt, you're burning the calories. I'm telling you, the
But I
whole
was trying to
system.
grow a garden.
Go in.
The flowers did good. The fruits and vegetables. Yeah.
I'll see a little delay on that bit. So I'm gonna just run this real quick.
exploitation of the American worker.
Tom, one topic that we've talked about for a very, very long time, the minimum wage. Now, you can find that the labor unions want a minimum wage, and they spend millions and millions of dollars lobbying for increasing minimum wage because they reduce some of their competition in the labor market. But there are many people out there who are good people, and they also support the minimum wage. How can you possibly explain the people with polar opposite interests coming up with the same policy?
Well, I think a great deal of the blame belongs on the economics profession, because outside of economics, most people, even most faculty members at leading universities, have no conception of the minimum wage. They simply think, it'll raise the pay of people at the bottom, and that's a good thing. Well, what it really does, as you pointed out, probably more so than a whole lot of other people, is that it prices low-skilled, inexperienced people out of a job.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember when I was a teenager, I had my first job. I thought my boss was very harsh. In retrospect, I don't know how the man put up with my incompetence. I certainly wouldn't put up with anybody who was that incompetent. But he would pay me some very low rate. If he had to hire me at the rate for an experienced adult worker, there's no way in the world he would have wasted his money like that.
The fact is that the programs that are labeled as being for the poor, for the needy, almost always have effects exactly the opposite of those which their well-intentioned sponsors intend them to have.
As an example, what are you referring to?
Let me give you a very simple example. Take the minimum wage law. It's well-meaning sponsors. There are always, in these cases, two groups of sponsors. There are the well-meaning sponsors, and there are the special interests who are using the well-meaning sponsors as front men. You almost always, when you have bad programs, have an unholy coalition of the do-gooders on the one hand and the special interests on the other. The minimum wage law is as clear a case as you could want. The special interests are, of course, the trade unions, the monopolistic craft trade unions in particular. The do-gooders believe that by passing a law saying that nobody shall get less than $2 an hour or $2.50 an hour or whatever the minimum wage is, you are helping poor people who need the money. You are doing nothing of the kind. What you are doing is to assure that people whose skills are not sufficient to justify that kind of a wage will be unemployed. It is no accident that the teenage unemployment rate, the unemployment rate among teenagers in this country, is over twice as high as the overall unemployment rate. It's no accident that that was not always the case until the 1950s, when the minimum wage law wage rate was raised very drastically, very quickly.
I was so lucky. I at the time I had no clue about all this. I left home in 1948. Many decades later, I learned that the unemployment rate among black teenagers in 1948, 16, 17-year-olds, was 9.4%. Among whites of the same age, it was 10.2%. So both blacks and white teenagers had only a fraction of the unemployment that they have today.
You were expected to work. You were expected to be able to get a job.
And more importantly, the jobs were there for you. And this is because of a fluke, really. The minimum wage law in the United States, Fair Labor Standards Act of 1938, was passed with specified rates of pay that you're supposed to get. Almost immediately, inflation took off during the 1940s. So by 1948, those numbers that were in the law were meaningless.
Oh, I see.
In other words, when I started out as a Western Union messenger, the minimum wage was 40 cents an hour. I started out at the bottom at 65 cents an hour. So it was the same as if there was no minimum wage. And this is what happened. You had this, and I was so lucky. I knew, of course, had no clue about any of this. Now a black kid 20 years later comes in there. People have become compassionate. They raised the minimum wage, so he can't get a job.
Got it.
And I don't think it does any community any good to have a whole lot of teenage males hanging around on the streets with no job and nothing to do.
A lot of people say, well, the minimum wage is an anti-poverty device.
People are making $6, $7, $8 an hour. They deserve a minimum wage of $15. Anything below that puts you below the poverty level.
Well, that is utter nonsense. It doesn't even pass the smell test. Because if it were an anti-poverty device, well, then instead of spending all this money on foreign aid, we just have our experts at the State Department tell Bangladesh, well, you could be rich like we are, just have a higher minimum wage.
Thus, the consequences of minimum wage rates have been almost wholly bad, to increase unemployment and to increase poverty.
Like, and I hope while I'm playing this, it's not going over no one's head, right? It's not to say blah, 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 because my problem is always this. I'll always ask a nigga, yo, where's the maximum wage? All right? All right? Is there a maximum? So there's no cap on the maximum. Why would you want it to be a cap on the minimum? You should be paid what you're worth, meaning that the jobs are more competitive, and now being more competitive, they're more open. That seems kind of fucking counterproductive, right? Damn, I see what you mean. Okay, think about it like this. They tell you about the Wild Wild West, right? And you probably think people was getting killed left to right, but it wasn't as bad as you think it is, right? Reasons being, maybe it's a multitudes of reasons, but a reason that we can look into, right? The one thing that stops a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun. That's the only concept I got for y'all. So it's not about trying to have a minimum wage. You need to start letting them know, like, yo, that minimum wage shit don't mean nothing to me. You're not paying me that. Because then your skills entitles it. Me personally, I'm thinking it has to be a better system where it's like, okay, so why is everybody below the poverty line? But remember, the system is designed for couples. That's what we don't get also too. The system is designed for couples. And the reason why it's designed for couples is because women fought for rights. And then it was like, okay, cool, let's just split up the wages. Let's do 50 men, 50 women, blah, blah, blah. Or whatever y'all say. I know y'all come on here know it's patriarchy. Cool. Whatever. So yeah, they said we just gonna split the wages up. So now you technically don't make a living wage unless you overwork yourself. Double shift, overtime, retire at 800 type time. You feel me? The system was designed for couples, marriage, families. That's what the system was designed for. Why I say marriage family? Because marriage is a sexual union. When a man and a woman come together, that's marriage. A marriage ceremony is maybe what y'all be telling me about when y'all don't go into some weird shit, but I don't care about that. I'm talking about actual marriage, actual practice of marriage, right? Two people coming together, uniting. Out of that system, it creates a third bruh, or a fourth bruh, or a fifth bruh. It don't matter how much bruhs, possibly 100 bruhs. Those 100 bruhs, now it's under your system. And now when you have all the business that's being started, instead of outsourcing your label, because it's called nepotism, so they practice it too, though. Everybody practices it, so that's why we know it's really nothing you can do about it. What we can do about it is, hey, you black, I got you. All right, cool. All right, I'm gonna let this play because I think y'all should give me. Because I feel like if I keep on going, then y'all get kind of lost. And I know we got some smart viewers, so I'm not talking about the viewers per se, but I'm just saying getting lost in the mix and the sauce.
The effects have been concentrated on the groups that the do-gooders would most like to help. The people who have been hurt most by minimum wage laws are the blacks. I have often said that the most anti-Negro law on the books of this land is the minimum wage rate. And so I think the real answer to your question is that you must not judge a bottle solely by its label. You have to look at what's inside and see what the law or the measure produces.
And you see what he did. All he did was just come back to the point that I was touching on, right? When I was like, because there's, like he said, there's do-gooders, technically, right? People that's on the other side, that's like, nah, bro, that's not right. You feel me? It has to be people like that, right? That's not right. I'm not okay with that. They said people getting paid $7 something till they can't live. Well, the system was designed for marriage. You see how I'll come back to it? Because now it makes more sense to y'all. You can't live. You're not supposed to be able to live. We didn't design the system for one person unless you're going to overwork yourself, right? And acquire skills that require higher wages. Simple as that. Those jobs that we're now working was designed to be teen jobs, right? Now they got jobs where they almost ain't hiring you unless you're 85 type shit. They don't want you in there if you're a teen. They don't want nobody coming up on the system, I'm thinking. I don't know if that's what it is, but maybe it's because the wage is too high to pay a teen. It's like, bro, not doing nothing. You feel me? That's how I can kind of be looking at it. Somebody might be like, man, he's not doing anything. Right? He's not doing anything per se, T. So why should he get paid so much? Right? I gotta teach him this. He's not a skilled laborer. Right? This is unskilled hands. See, I'll tell you, I say this about everything, right? We have to be cautious. When lines are drawn, we have to ask about the lines, and we have to now inquire of the lines. This brother say, hey, when you get a bottle, don't just look at the label on the bottle and say this is water. Hey, this is a health cast too, kind of, because you know we black privilege, so we gonna talk about health too. Next time y'all go to the store, right? Get like a cheap brand or like just your regular brand that you always get. I don't know. Like I said, we got a smart cast, so y'all might be like, yeah, T, I know what it got in it. It just got this. Okay, cool. Next time y'all go to the store, bro, get something that you think is just it. Meaning, if you go to the store and you get what is something that you think should be it? Like, I would say something like pure, right? Like, say like you get seasonings and things like that, and you get like nigga ground ginger or some shit, and you look in the back of your ground ginger and say it'll have like 2 other ingredients, right? Or like you'll get something that you thought was like some juice, and it have on the back 2% juice. And you're like, damn, how the fuck is 2% juice? What's all in here? Or like you'll get like some lime, coconut water. You'll go get some coconut water, nigga, or some coconut milk. Cause I fuck with coconut. Like I said, if you're not using the dry boys, you use the dry boys. You pop them open. You take out the meat. You put the meat in the blender. You throw some water in there with the meat in the blender, and you make some coconut milk. You could get the fresh boy, and you can pour the water out, and you can get some coconut water, and then you can bust it open, and that jelly in there is soft. And they got a hard jelly, and they got a soft jelly. I don't know why I'm telling y'all about coconut, but I'm telling y'all about health, bro. So if you get a coconut water or coconut milk, bro, you read the back, and you'll be like, what the hell is this? Stabilizer E1375. Stabilizer E1375. So much so that you don't even see coconut. Go get like a vanilla essence. The thing is, I think I'm gonna do a separate cast on that because you feel me. I want to end at the 4:30 mark up here, right? But right, it's just weird, bro. When you think you're getting something, you have to check it out. Is what I'm telling you. That's just the whole moral of that story. I'll keep on going down the different things you can get and check the back. Matter of fact, please in the comment sections, you feel me? Throw some stuff that you went and thought was something, nigga, that wasn't it. You was at the store, nigga. You thought you was grabbing you some coconut milk, nigga. You grabbed you some E-stabilizers. You went to the motherfucking other store. You thought you was grabbing you some vitamin E oil. You look in the back. You look at the back of your vitamin E oil. It's a bunch of other bruhs. Few am I gonna grab. Just everybody that makes no sense. It's like, bro, I just wanted the vitamin E oil. Why is it soy in my vitamin E oil? You gotta be careful with the shits, bro. So I'm saying that to say, if you are a child, bro, and you are working at a job, the minimum wage is too competitive, right? Right now, I guess within the time that we're in, though, you should get paid that, right? But to raise it from where it's at right now and to double that wage, bro, it's not the same as to be like, all right, what we're gonna do? Well, I guess they say they're doing a little 2-year increase, blah blah blah. And in the midst of all this, the inflation happening, so now the $15 ain't gonna be enough. The system wasn't designed for us to be individualized. You feel me? For sure, I'm not coming at this from an angle of being a Republican or being anything of that sort where I will put myself in a name boat, right? Only name boat that I always speak on is when I say, you know, we're black privileged. That's how I speak. Because that's just the concept, right? You go outside, the sun show you your privilege. You look at Haiti, the people show you your privilege. OG said, nigga, we got a different respect for the land. The way we rock out with the land is kind of different. So you feel me? But thank everybody for coming out, bro. I was kind of trying to wait for my brother Rolly. I know Rolly probably is gonna tap back in a little bit. What time it is right now, bro? Matter of fact, let me see something real quick. See if I can get a brother a few seconds. Hold on, folks. Matter of fact, I think I might just end it, bro, because that's a great ending to the show, right? Where we finished off with the minimum wage topic. And all I gotta say is, bro, everybody gonna have to pay their weight. So if you wanna create this minimum wage situation to $15, make sure you can pay your weight, right? Meaning that you're acquiring these skills. You have these innate things. And that's why I don't like the minimum wage system, because say you're greater than the minimum wage, they can still start you off with it because that's the minimum wage, right? But if it was more competitive where you're like, nah, I do this, I do this, I do that. Nah, I'm good, bro. I'll just go over there. I'll go to the competitors. Yeah. Then it'll be bonuses. Like right now in this pandemic time, right? They say people don't want to go back to work. They say they paying niggas. McDonald's down here somewhere in Florida paying people just to work. You feel me? So we see the system a lot. They're paying people to work. They're paying people 150 extra fucking for bonuses and things like that, because bro, this system is gonna balance itself out. But you trying to get this minimum wage situation, it's pointless, because like I said, if you pay your weight, bro, you can go in there without the minimum wage situation, bro. You'll be able to leverage and get a better deal. But with the minimum wage, I can cap you. I can be like, yo, you knew I'm starting you off at the minimum wage. And right, and what that does is it have more competitive people in jobs getting paid lesser money, instead of having it where the job, like I said, the teenage employment had to be, I think, double this if we go back, I think 20 years or 40 years, right? So that's the system I'm saying, where the jobs are more competitive. So the lower jobs, it's easier to hire at those jobs because the competition at the top, it basically levels everything out to where, okay, well, if you paying bruh $5 because he doing $5 an hour worth of work, that's straight, because this dude right here might be doing something. You feel me? Like, it just, the system of trying to cap somebody, bro, it forces too much people to do jobs that's really bullshit jobs, because it's like, yo, I gotta really go through this minimum wage shit anyway. I gotta work my way up, dude. But it's like, yo, you got all these skills, and that's what I'm telling you. That's another thing that kind of go back to where back in the days we used to be on some shit like, yo, let's go to trade school. Let's get a trade. Let's get something that, like I was saying, the system isn't designed for a single people. This isn't an individual system, bro. So that's why you can't live with your little individual wage unless you're working a lot of fucking hours, or like I said, go choose skills that pay a lot of money. That's all we gotta do, bro. We don't need to be thinking about shit like, bro. We be like, we'll go down a weird path, and then we'll be confused. And I guess, like I said, I understand, bro. But when do we wake up? We're too far ahead now, bro. And like I said, I know we still asleep because Trump came in there. Like I said, I don't really rock with nobody and even care about how to rock with people. But for sure, Donald Trump was not on that Republican shit. And what I mean by that, everybody Republican, they always had this little weird code where they didn't speak out on each other. They didn't speak out even on other politicians. They tried to be holier than thou. Little weird type guys. It was like, yo, look at this slave master type of bro. That's how they try to be. They try to be sticklers. But when Trump was in there, he was throwing epithets at motherfuckers. They told him about the brother McCain and la 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 la. The brother said, I respect the shooter. In so many words, yo, Trump, you ain't say that, bro. See, they might go get Brass again. Fuck that. In so many words, though, the brother was like, yo, I respect the shooter. The brother got captured, bro. What you talking about? The brother got captured. And like that dude was a Republican. Mitt Romney. Y'all forgot about Mitt Romney, but Mitt Romney ran against Obama when I was in college, 2012. And I remember everybody was scared. They were saying Mitt Romney was going to send everybody back to their country. But Mitt Romney and Trump didn't get along, right? Trump's biggest supporters was the likes of Jamaicans fought with Trump's, Haitian, like it was some groups that you may look at, but like, nah, I ain't gonna fuck. it had to be something they heard. You know, number one thing is they witnessed the Democrats. For sure, Haiti witnessed motherfucking Hillary Clinton. They're supposed to build houses down there. They built 0 houses. You feel me? Like, it's just people was not going for that shit, bro. So when they did that shit for Trump, bro, it was just like, bro, it was what it was, bro. And like I said, I guess we care about people acting correct or like being like having this way of giving it up. It's like that's pointless to me, bro, because everybody else, like I was telling the bro, like, bro, I don't even want a black president in office because you telling me that because Obama was black, he couldn't do nothing for us. Why was he even there then? Like we putting him under way too much pressure. Now we gotta judge him and say, yo, bro, you ain't do nothing for the black people. Why y'all even put him in office then? Cause y'all thought he was gonna do something. So don't try to motherfucking make it seem like you knew, man. I already knew Obama wasn't gonna do nothing anyway. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. You thought he was gonna do so much, bro. Matter of fact, you probably think he did a bunch. Shout you out. But for sure, bro, I know Obama did a lot of weird situations, bro. And it's nothing wrong with it in the sense, because I know y'all love when people get into the country, right? So he did the Dreamer situation where he took some money from here to put here. You feel me? He robbed Peter to pay Paul type situation. Trump came back in. Trump was like, yo, HBCUs, y'all ain't got to worry about that. Blah, you go. I don't know, bro. I don't want to talk about Trump, bro, because people gonna be like, look at you, bro. Trump.
No, the man got no recognition for that.
Bro, he fucking he did some wild shit that we never seen, bro. The shit was called Operation Warp Speed. His whole shit was nigga to get vaccines on the market within a short within a short time. Bro, all this shit, bro, that motherfuckers wanted. That's why motherfuckers back to hanging out now because of Trump. But like now we saying, yo, Biden is not doing nothing, bro. Matter of fact, the job unemployment situation came back out and it was dismally low. So I don't know, bro. I keep on stressing, bro. Be careful with who we think is our friend, bro. Because obviously we don't like the way Trump gave it up. We all hated him, I'm guessing. But bro, Sleepy Joe said, bro, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black. Sleepy Joe did nothing yet for black people, bro. I don't know when he gonna address the black issue, bro. But I know they passed AAPI bills. I know brother joining motherfucking Paris climate organizations. Bro, you know when you join organizations, you gotta pay money, bro. This shit just be sounding like, yeah, bro, it's the government, bro. They just no, bro. They paying to be in a club, bro, of nonsenseness, bro. That's all they doing, bro. They're paying to be in a club of nonsense, bro. So I don't know, bro. Biden could do whatever, bro. I don't know what they doing, bro. They said, bro, they said they'd never seen this at the border. They said the border is fucking bananas. I seen little kids playing in the playpen. I seen a bird crying. I didn't sign up for this. I got kids at home. I got a wife. Shut up, white boy. Work. So like, I'm not banging on him, bro, for that reason. But stop complaining, bro. Do your job. But yeah, he's upset because nobody's responding. Nobody's coming to help, bro. Nobody in government is speaking up and saying, yo, stop sending your people over here, bro. I remember Trump used to get so serious with them boys. Yo, send somebody else over here and see what I do to y'all. I'm not playing with nobody, bro. But if somebody else come over here, bro, for no reason, I'm sanctioning you. Him and the Mexican, bro, is cool, bro. Shout out to Mexican, bro. Shout out to motherfucking who that was. That was Goya. Shout out to Goya. Shout out to anybody, bro, that rock with freedom. And that's what I was saying, bro. It's just freedom of speech, bro. It ain't even really about Trump, like I said, bro. It's really about freedom of speech. I guess he didn't have a presidential character. Yeah, I want him to be real presidential. Bro, no, bro. We don't need no more presidents, bro. What? All right, so Trump was basically a businessman. Yeah, the next person we need is like, I would say the next person that I want is probably like so we had a businessman, probably just like an architect. Or like, what about a philosopher? Like, how y'all feel about that? Y'all think that's a dope concept? Like a philosopher, right? I have one of your deepest philosophers come out. and just drop game. I don't know. Is there any philosophers y'all see trying to run for president? Matter of fact, we got a rapper running. Oh no, yeah, is not a rapper. Yeah, is a businessman too. It's a business man. Nah, that's not Ye shit. Really? That was Ye line. Hey, my boy Lito said, I go ham, I go ham. Well, that was my song. Could have swore I put it out a few years ago, but maybe I'm wrong. Hey, did a remix with Gucci Mane. You don't believe it? Just type in Lito. Mo flows. Bro, like I said, bro. I'm about to get up out of here, man. I'm trying to get my brother Roller some time, bro. I feel like he'll probably go on his break. What time you can see a nigga going on his break, bro? A Nigerian brother. You feel me? So I was kind of waiting on that, but I'm let me see if I can give y'all one. I don't know what just happened. Damn. I'm not even in here no more, I think. Because I know I'm not in here because I kept on. But where would I share the screen at? Nope. Yeah, bro, I'm just about to get out of here because, matter of fact, let me see this real quick though. Empress had these in different damn, that been dropped again. I went to 59. I mean 52. See StreamYard. Who I'm using this, bro. Yeah. Just give me a few seconds, y'all. I'm trying to, I'm always trying to do a little more than just the ordinary. I come ready to bury a nigga, but I ain't the tooth fairy. Niggas laying like a plumber, beating on drums like a drummer, running the summer. All right, bro, just chill out. You see, I was even just trying to perform for the brothers, bro. Just chill out. Man, I probably just want to go play the piano in the back. All right, bro. I'm gonna play this brother, bro. I'm gonna play this brother giving a package that is a dead kick. You feel me? I'm gonna show y'all a brother giving a package that is it dead kick. All right, blah. Let me enter the broadcast. They saying that niggas live right now in the broadcast. Oh, so I might not even be speaking. Oh, that's whack. That's whack. That is whack, bro. Like, what is even all this little shit down here they showing me? Burn out in the studio for sure. Alright, bro, back in the studio. God damn. I don't know what that was about, bro. But I would say that's I don't know, that should work. That should work. Damn, why do they have everything so jumbled up on? Did Empress set it up different for me? Hey, shit set it so different. Nigga said that Empress set it up different for him. Hey, you know Empress set it up different for you, bro. Shit is going haywire right now.